What's up, everybody? Happy Monday. Super stoked to be here. Just realized I took a nap before the webinar. I didn't put my watch back on. So I'm like, oh shoot, where's my watch? Oh well.
What time is it?
It's on the sofa in the podcast room. So anyway,
I had a line across your forehead from napping.
Do what? Oh, wait, really?
Just kidding.
Oh God. Yeah, do you take naps daily?
Oh yeah, daily.
I take literally a 20-minute nap at least once a day, sometimes twice a day. And it's just like my eyes were burning and I just like tired and I feel like a whole new man. But some people are like, they come out of their nap and they're like, I can't function. I am golden for the rest of the day now, at least until 4.
Second
That's
nap.
That's an hour. Then we'll take another nap on the webinar. All right, guys. So we got a really great webcast for you today. Brand new content, mostly the same old Chris shit is what I'll tell you. But you get a brand new suite of stuff from Lindsay. This happens to also be kind of a specialty of mine. So I'm really excited about this. I told her I'm not reviewing any of your content going in. I want to hear this brand new, fresh stuff. So I'm really, really excited about today's call. Lindsay, any housekeeping items from you before we get rolling?
Yeah, my advice is if you have not already sent this webinar to your team. So if you are MSP owner here with us, my advice is to bring in your team with you. So if you have a salesperson or you have a sales development rep or a BDR or even a dialer that is responsible for booking appointments for your business, I would go ahead and send them the link to join the webinar as well, or the Facebook link or wherever it is. I know that we're streaming in several different places.
Yeah, we're all over
this webinar. I've even invited our members from Leads Mastery, our mastermind in. I've invited our clients to come in and watch just because this is all new content. And we are literally breaking down like these just golden nuggets to making consistent and effective lead generation through cold calls. So super, super valuable training. So be here now, close out all the things, get your team in, and let's just make the next 90 minutes the most that we can.
Yeah, and you're going to get very minimal me today and a lot of Lindsay and a lot of really good content. I got a couple of little things I'm going to go over. First of all, I'm going to talk about this a little bit in my slides, but I just want to bring it up. If you have not actually registered for the webinar today, how you can register for our future webinars and for our live events. Like we're going to be in Raleigh this week, Thursday. I know Lindsay's not going to be there, but it's going to be me and Ryan O'Hara talking about how to build a profitable stack. I'm going to teach you how to sell at $300 plus per seat. I'm going to be in Raleigh, North Carolina this Thursday. You can register at 7figuremspevents.com. You can also register for our quarterly big live events. So we have 200 to 400 MSPs, depending on the quarter, that come to our live events. And we have our next one is May 7th, 8th, and 9th in Indianapolis. I'm going to have a slide for this as well. But you can hit 7-Figure MSP events, see it all. So it's got our live events, it's got our road shows, and it's got our webinars all live on that page, and you can just register. Here's one of the reasons you register for the webinar. You can win the prizes. If you're just watching on the social link, because we're streaming right now on the 7-Figure MSP Facebook page, the IT and MSP Business Owners group, the Chris Weiser's Inner Circle Facebook group, the Million Plus Business Owners group, LinkedIn for 7-Figure MSP, and then the 7-Figure MSP YouTube page. So we're streaming across literally like 7 destinations right now and tons of cool stuff. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Lindsay, you're good on that, right? I'm going to share my screen.
Yeah, good.
Okay, here we go. So a couple things for you guys today. First of all, my promise to you, Lindsay's promise, we're going to show you how to add at least 10 new qualified leads to your sales pipeline every single month. Now, here's the factor. I talk about the MSP easy button a lot. There's no such thing. That's kind of the point. Like, oh, hey, check out the MSP easy button. Don't exist, bro. It's not a real thing. You have to do work. You can't just outsource these things, set it and forget it. MSPs like set it and forget it. You can't do that. So we're going to teach you how to do a lot of stuff, but it's going to take a little bit of work and it's going to take a lot of process. It's going to take some procedure and some execution on your side. Also, note my in parentheses, without complicated funnels, expensive direct mail campaigns, or expensive ads. So this is going to take some systems. It's going to take some processes, but we're going to teach you a way to basically learn how to fish, not just hand you fish. And hand you fish is great, but you don't get very many fishes handed to you in the real world. That's the reality of it. Okay. So be mindful of that. Pay attention, take some notes. Like Lindsay said, have your team with you. If you want to come back and watch it on replay, we're going to offer the replay. It's being streamed. All the platforms, if you're watching it outside of the live webinar, it stays where it's at. You can come back and watch it later. You can also, everybody that registered for the webinar, we're going to send you the replay link as well. Okay. So that's all there. Next, we're going to be sharing real skills, real strategy that our very own clients. You heard Lindsay mention brand new stuff. We're dropping it in front of our clients today too. So you guys get live, real content that we actually use. We're using that with our clients, with you guys to generate leads consistently in systems and processes. So get ready to take notes and take action coming out of it. The only thing better than perfect is done. I promise you that this works. For you guys that are live on the webinar with us, that is the webinar, StreamYard webinar side. You had to register for this. You have to be in the live room with us. We got a lot of people here already. I can see them commenting. We're going to be giving away multiple prizes today. One winner is going to get an $100 Amazon gift card, and another second winner. We're going to be doing this near the end. So you got to kind of somewhere in there near the end. Another winner will get a $75 Amazon gift card. So number one prize, $100 gift card. Second prize, $75 gift card. If you're not in the States, I'll send you money on PayPal. Okay. This is Amazon, so it is not a big deal. Okay. And everyone in this webinar, everybody that's not only here on the webinar, but also on the streaming. So everybody, we're going to have hundreds at this point on that. Everybody's going to have an opportunity to win their own $50 gift card coming out of that as well. Okay. Last couple things I got before I do my content, please pay attention. That means no tickets, no client calls, no distractions. Take notes. If you're serious, we have good content. This is real stuff. It's totally free. There's no expectations on anything here. We're streaming it across all these platforms. So pay attention and don't get distracted specifically by this thing, which you can see here is like blowing up right now. I got phone shit on my phone nonstop. It just happened. My phone is put away. You should do the same thing. Very important. Final couple things here. Here's our MSP tour schedule for this year coming up here. Oops, we got up through Indianapolis. So we got March 21st, Raleigh. Boston, April 25th is in Boston, Massachusetts.
Boston.
You were just in New York City, weren't you, Lindsay?
I was. I just got back from a NYC trip. It's probably my favorite city in the entire world.
Wow. It's aggressive. I thought you'd been to Austin before. I thought you've been to Austin before, but apparently Austin wasn't.
Definitely not Austin.
No, Austin.
Definitely not Austin. Bottom of the list.
Wow. Also, our May through 7th live event, that is the Fast Track Your Way to MSP Success event. We are in Indianapolis right before the Indy 500. We got the Dallara IndyCar Factory. We got casino night. We got 3 full days, May 7th, 8th, and 9th. Stoked about that. Would love to have you come. You can register right there on that promo code, all kinds of cool stuff. So feel free to screenshot that or just come back in the replay and watch that later. One last thing, a little bit about our coaching team. You got obviously Lindsay Badillo is here. She is our head of marketing coaching. We have Cindy Phillips, our head of sales coaching, and we have Ryan O'Hara, who's our head of member services. We have a great team that teaches you. We focus on skills and strategies to teach you how to do this on your own. That's really the factor here. We're not just going to hand you stuff. It's great. Trust me, I love getting handed stuff, but it doesn't really scale that well, and it surely doesn't last a long time through market changes and shifts and all this other stuff. So it's really cool. Okay, here's time for my content, and I'm going to be brief and key on this. And even if you have people in the room that are non-technical, this is important stuff, and I want you to pay attention. I'm going to talk about theory and concept a little bit. We got a lot of people watching today that have never seen me live, never seen our content live, so please pay attention. First of all, things have changed. When I talk about things have changed, I want you to understand that not only is it the MSP market that has changed, the MSP how it looks to you guys, how it looks to the clients, that's all changed, yes. But more importantly, how we deliver services and how we should be delivering services as MSPs. I don't care if you're a one-person shop working out of your car. I don't care if you're a 50-person shop working out of a big corporate office. You have to do things differently in March of 2024 than you had to even do them in February, January, all the way back. Here's the big factor. Think about this historically. Think about your clients. Businesses are not prepared. They are not ready for what we're dealing with. We're seeing this actively right now. When I say they're not prepared, they're getting hacked. I sit there in big rooms. Lindsay, we were there at IT Nation this fall. I said, everybody in the room raised their hand. Had everybody in the room raise their hand. I said, who in this room can prevent all hacks? All the hands go down. Mm-hmm. This is very indicative of what the industry's like. Now, that doesn't mean you're a bad MSP at all. But that means is that your clients do not understand the risk. So we know that we can't stop all the hacks. We know that we can't prevent all the hacks. We know that we can't use words like prevention and guaranteed uptime and all these things anymore because honestly, it's a little bit of a crapshoot. We can do our best and we can put a pattern of support and basically establish this pattern of behavior behind us that we are doing everything we can and we're not negligent. We can control that, but we surely can't control end user dum-dum clicking on a link and sending $75,000 wire transfer, $200,000 wire transfer, $500,000 wire transfer. We can't control those things. And it's really important to understand, more important, that you understand how your client thinks, because in their head, they are still treating IT support like a bargain basement service. It's commoditized. The whole thing. How many of you have that small, medium, large package, that silver, gold, platinum? How many of them have that good, better, best mindset where you just let your client? Had a guy a couple of weeks ago, Lindsay, I don't know if you even heard this story yet, but had a guy a couple of weeks ago come into our interview room for consulting in the program, and he was selling RMM at $5 a seat.
Wow.
That's his offering. Is I sell RMM and then I just do break fix on top of that. That's his offering. Mm-hmm. And he's in the United States, in a large state in the United States. So that's the kind of stuff that, that's probably a little extreme, but that's the kind of stuff that's out there and what you're facing. And the big problem with all of that, all those, that big thing, I understand it's a big deal out there, but other things to be mindful of is your clients think in their heads that you're already doing everything they need for IT support and cybersecurity. They think you're handling this. If one of your clients gets hacked, think about what they're going to say. Oh, Mark got my back. Chris got my back. Joe got my back. He's my IT guy. He's got it handled. Have you tried to prospect, cold call down to people? Are you looking for IT services? That's usually what most people are saying. Oh, I already have an IT guy. Yeah, but what about cybersecurity? They already got me handled. But do they really? I'm going to say 98 times out of 100, they don't. And that's real. So here's a couple of tips that I'm going to give you guys that I want you to have top of mind. And then we're going to get into marketing stuff with Lindsay here really quickly. You have to sell and lead with cybersecurity. This is really, really important. So as you walk into your prospect, as you walk into your existing client, you should be talking cybersecurity all day. It's the first thing you talk about. It's all you talk about. They don't care how big your stack is. They don't care how many tools are in your stack. They don't care how great your stack is. They don't care how big your VDRs are. They don't care about any of this, how big your clouds are. They don't care about any of this stuff. The things that MSP business owners need to start broadcasting and talking about is that the risk is real. And these are really critical things that you have to talk about. Remember that pattern of support that I was talking about. You have to lay that and you have to put that out in front of you. More importantly, probably behind you. So you can say, look, I understand you got hacked, but I tried. I talked to you about cybersecurity. I did a risk assessment. I presented it to you and you told me you were good. See, boom, there's my negligence all laid out there. I'm not negligent. You are, Mr. Client. Can you sit there and point that finger at them? That's important, guys. So here's a couple things that you can do. If you want more, I'm open to talk. We'll have an opportunity for you to book a call here in a little bit. First of all, you heard me mention the good, better, best, the silver, gold, platinum, the minimal plan to all the way up. No more good, better, best. One plan, full stack. And why are we going full stack only? One word, liability. You need to be able to say, I offered you the best and you declined it. I understand that we're servicing a lesser version with you, but I showed you what you need and I gave you a letter that stated that I offered this. So you are establishing that pattern of behavior and showing that you're not negligent. Really, really important. Because how will you, or more importantly, your clients, when they have a breach and they try and file an insurance claim, refute a charge of gross negligence? Really important stuff, guys. Second piece of this, you have to, every single scenario, meaning brand new prospect, yes. Existing clients, yes. You have to do a client discovery risk assessment across the board. Why a full risk assessment? Obviously, and for the record, the network assessment that MSPs did forever was this: gather data, pain points, and tech issues. Great. Awesome. So that's thing one. But this is where most MSPs have stopped historically. Second, we need to discover pain. We need to discover emotional ties, things that are going to move the needle as we talk to the client or the prospect. Good example of this: plain text browser passwords. If you showed them their list of passwords, that moves the needle. Phishing results, showing them that 75% of their staff clicked on the phish. That moves the needle. No MFA on their bank account. That moves the needle. Things that they can talk about, that we are talking about with them, that are bringing it up and saying, you have massive risk here. Here's what it is. What are you going to do about it? Third, you have to know their network better than the hackers. Now, this is a major challenge, major challenge, because it takes some work and it takes some effort to do all these things. Really key. Fourth, you have to show the client what a hack will really do to them. How many of them actively say, oh, I'll just switch back to paper. We'll just stop doing that. Or we'll deal with it when it happens. It's not going to happen to us. We're too small for that. You have to show them what it's really going to do. Take some tabletop exercises. Take some stuff to make this all happen. So that's all real key stuff. Really, really key stuff. Okay. On top of that, I have a deliverable here for you guys. This is our 7-figure MSP run the play worksheet. I'm going to kind of see this. Lindsay, I'm going to mute you really quick. You have a ton of background noise, just so you know.
All right. Yep. Mute me.
There she goes. Here's the deal.
Spring break here, by the way. So I have like a house full of children right now.
It's spring break. I know. I can hear your children. Here's the deal. We have the run the play workshop handout for you guys. This is something you can download. This is a direct PDF. This is not just a registration link or anything like that. You can take that and look at it. Here's basically what it is. It's giving you a checklist on the things to do with your existing clients and how you get them. And here's a good example. That's step one: list all the accounts that have paid you in the last 12 months. Pick 3 accounts that'll say no to anything you suggest. Call them accounts and let them know you're running a CSRA, cybersecurity risk assessment, or analysis, whatever you want to call it, on the business. Schedule the finding meetings for 4 weeks later, or even sooner than that if you want to. Start running scans. We use a product called Telivy, Telivy, to run all these things, deliver the findings, and get rolling on it. That's exactly what we do now. In our coaching programs, we rip this way apart and give you all of the stuff, including all the coaching and all the process. But this is a way for you to do this on your own if you choose to, and it's a really good way to get started. And number 3, present your risk findings. Now, this is really key and probably the biggest part where MSPs really struggle. Do not talk tech. It doesn't matter what's in your stack. It doesn't matter what tools you use. In fact, I'd say you actually probably hamstring yourself by putting the tools you're using into it. Highlight the pain points you find, highlight those emotional ties, and create emotion and need with them. Lead the client to a place where they're like, holy crap, so we're going to get hacked and we have to do something about it. And you're telling me if I don't put more stuff in, I'm going to be probably on my own against the insurance company? Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. They have to get it on their own. I call that the risk light bulb. And if you don't turn on the risk light bulb, you'll never create a need in them. They're never going to be like, holy crap. And you eliminate, most companies come to me, most MSPs come to me and they're like, I can't sell for even $100 per seat in my market. You eliminate the price objection by highlighting those pain points, showing them the risk, showing them their needs across the board. And then they're like, I guess I have to have it. Because trust me, any client that you have, any client that you should be keeping, how about we say that? Any client that you should be keeping has the money for this. They just don't see it valuable enough. I'm going to say that again. Any client that you should be keeping or working with or taking on risk to manage has the money to do this if they realize how important it is. They make money for this stuff. They make money for insurance. What's the ROI in insurance? Hopefully nothing. What's the ROI on a great cybersecurity plan? Hopefully 0. Hopefully we never have to use it. It's the first time this industry's ever been able to say something like that. It's really key. Okay. I'm going to take some questions in the chat here. Lindsay, are you ready to roll? You're muted again still, just so you know. I think I can.
I'm talking on mute. No big deal. Yeah, you go ahead and stop your share and I will start mine.
Yep, good to go. All right, I'm gonna hit the chat here. Let's see what we got here while we're doing this. Hey, Max Schlicht said he's in Madison, Wisconsin. What's up, Max? My parents live in Oconomowoc, man. So I'm not far from you. That's cool. I'm from Hartford. I went to Hartford High School. That's where I'm from natively. Sean just said, I think we're going to Toronto. We're going to Ottawa, right? I think.
Yep.
We're going to Ottawa. That's on 7-Figure MSP events again. That's that URL that we got there. And now we got somebody in Honolulu. That's really cool. So, okay, Lindsay, we're ready to go whenever you're ready.
Alrighty. So I'm going to share my screen. We'll do it this way. 10 lead cybersecurity.
So while you do that, I'm going to answer this question from David. What's the best opener for pitching this to a general business? So here's, David, what I would say on this specifically. I would lead this. I'd lead in with, here's why you need a cybersecurity risk assessment. Lindsay, do you have the WINA on today's thing or no?
I do not have that.
So we have a deliverable, which we do on a couple of our other webinars. In fact, on 7figureMSPevents.com, you can see the replays on there. On our previous webinar that Lindsay and I did last month, in the month of February, we talked about why you need a cybersecurity risk assessment and offering that to clients. So going in and educating them with a presentation on why they need a cybersecurity risk assessment, and then offer to sell it to them. $500, $1,500, $2,500. Here's my pricing concept around that. If it's a 10 user network, kind of my get out of bed number for a CSRA, a cybersecurity risk assessment, is $1,500 flat rate, covers up to 10 employees, and then $100 an employee above that. Super simple. And if you want to negotiate with them, that's fine. Just charge them something and don't give it away free. Don't negotiate with yourself in your head about, oh, this is too expensive. Just tell, if they're worth it to be a client, they can afford $1,500. Trust me. So that's where I would go and move from there. Okay, Lindsay, I'll let you go.
Awesome.
We are seeing your group of slides, not your slideshow screen, just so you know that.
I am presenting from current slide. Let's move this over here. How about now?
Nope.
That's weird.
I think you're showing it in the bottom you have to click on present and then choose share screen and then window. StreamYard's a little wonky.
It is a little wonky, and I feel like it changes every time. All right, PowerPoint slideshow.
Yeah,
how about now?
That's it. Good to go.
Awesome. Okay, now let me see if I can pull up StreamYard so I can see you. Okay, cool. All right, well, thank you for passing the baton. How is everyone doing? I'm super stoked for today's presentation. This is all new content that Chris and I are presenting on. We have had dozens of webinars that we've hosted over the last 2 years, which, by the way, 4 days ago was my 2-year anniversary with 7-Figure MSP. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, I didn't even realize that.
I know. So this is all new content. And we're going to start out with just some basics of, okay, how do I prep for these cold calls? How do I get prepared for them? And then we're going to be moving into some very tangible, actionable things, as well as a talk track as well. And I want us to remember the reason why we're here. So let's come back to the reason why we're here. The reason why you're here is to make sure that you have a consistent way to book appointments every single month. Okay. The biggest problem that I hear from our clients who are coming into 7-Figure MSP is they've built a business that is based on referrals. They've built a business that's based on when leads come to them, when someone sends them a lead, when they get a referral, when they, it's all word of mouth. And I think that's a great thing. However, that's not consistent and it's definitely not scalable. So towards the end of my presentation, we're going to talk about scale, and we're going to talk about the keys to scale. And what that means is, how do I, one, grow my business to 7 figures a year? Okay. Then how do I grow to multiple 7 figures? How do I continue to scale where I'm eventually bringing in team? I'm eventually hiring people to help me sell, set appointments, do all these things. And ultimately the goal is to exit, to sell, to retire, right? So, and you can only do that through implementing systems like this. Okay. You cannot sell a business that's built on referrals. And if you do, it's going to be pennies on the dollar. Okay. So first things first, We have to make sure that we train our mind. I'm going to take you through 5 key points today. Number 1, we're going to make sure that we train our mind. I don't know about you, but I know that I have to start and end my day by getting my mind right. Everything that we do starts here. So the words that you're saying to yourself, the thoughts that you're having, if you're telling yourself cold calls suck, I'm bad at this, no one wants to talk to me, I'm bothering people, people are mean, they're rude, they don't want to answer the phone call, they're going to hang up. Guess what? You're already subconsciously planting those things to happen to you. You are going to attract that. You're going to attract those behaviors. Okay. So what we have to do is we have to train our mind. So I want you to screenshot this. I want you to screenshot and repeat this 10 times. And I know it sounds a little crazy. It's going to sound a little woo here, but I promise you, this is going to make a huge change in your life. If you've ever read the book, Think and Grow Rich, you know that every single thing starts here. It starts right here, and it starts with the words, starts with your thoughts, and then your thoughts eventually turn into your behaviors. So I want you to tell yourself, and I actually had our graphic designer go through our slide deck today and add in some funny little GIFs and funny little pictures and stuff. So I like our little meditating guy over here. But I want you to tell yourself, I'm the kind of person that wins. I am the kind of person that wins. I'm the kind of person that people listen to. I'm the kind of person that sticks to the plan. I'm the kind of person that attracts success everywhere I go. Okay, so screenshot this, write this down, take a picture of the screen. And I want you to say this 10 times today. Before you go to bed tonight, say this over and over and over 10 times. This is the attitude that we have to go into our calls with, because I'm going to tell you right now, you will be told no. And that's a fact. Okay. And whenever you say these things and you start your day out right and you have the right attitude and the right mindset going in, you will also be told yes a lot. So you're going to get some no's and we're going to get some yeses. All right. And that's just the name of the game. So I want you to start here by training your mind. Now, a couple of other things I recommend is getting some sunshine, not sitting down at your desk first thing in the morning, making sure that you have things in your day that put you in the right mindset to go out and make these calls, to put the time on your calendar. Okay. So we're going to talk about that a little bit more here. Number 2, I want you to make a plan. I'm a huge Fast and Furious fan, so I thought this was actually fitting. But you want to make a plan. And now I don't just mean, oh, give me a script to follow. I don't just mean give me the perfect script, give me a list. I mean, we have to make a plan for success. Now, what does this look like? This means that I want to batch time in my calendar every single morning and every single afternoon with what I call power hours. And this means, hey, I'm going to go in every single day and create a recurring call on my calendar, 60 minutes in the morning, 60 minutes or a recurring time on my calendar, 60 minutes in the morning, 60 minutes in the afternoon. This is my power hour. This is where I'm uninterrupted. I put my cell phone on silent. It's on do not disturb mode. I put my Teams on do not disturb mode. I lock my office door and I'm in there and I am making calls. I am powering through this. And then at the end of the 60 minutes, I'll get up. I'll go do what I need to do. I'll go take a walk. I'll do whatever else needs to happen. I'll check my Teams. I'll respond to email, etc. But for those power hour, I am powering through and focusing on this one task and this one task only. Okay. Multitasking is a lie. There's no such thing as multitasking. There's no way we can actually do that. So we want to make sure that we're focusing on that one thing, which in this case is outbound calling during the 60-minute block. Okay.
Hey, another thing that's really tough about this, and I totally understand this, guys, is the distraction factor. Like we have this guy, put it away. Like it's really important to be able to focus and put this stuff away.
Yep, absolutely. So now before you make your calls, we want to get pumped up. So go ahead and let me know in the chat. If you had to choose a pump up song, what would your pump up song be? All right. So this could be, we were actually talking about this last week in Leads Mastery. Someone recommended Metallica. Someone said AC/DC. Someone said Cardi B. Like Cardi B. What would your pump up song be to get your heart rate going, to get you excited to go and make calls? In fact, I do this before I do a webinar, before I go live, before I go on stage. I'm doing something to get me into the right energy, into the right frequency to go out and then go radiate that energy to other people. Okay, it is a proven fact that whenever you make a phone call, whenever you enter into a webinar, whenever you go talk on a stage, whenever you enter into a room, a networking meeting, a client's office, a first-time appointment, a presentation, doesn't matter. Whenever you walk in and your energy level, let's say you walk in on an energy level on a scale of 1 to 10, you come in at a level 6, guess what? The people in that room will only meet you between like 50 to 60% of where you are. So guess what level they're going to be on? A level 3 or 4. Okay, so we got to pump it up. So I need you to come into these calls like level 8, 9, 10. Then you're going to have people that are meeting you at 6, 7, 8. Okay, the higher our frequency, the higher the frequencies of those around us. So we got to get pumped up. Maybe you do some jumping jacks in your office. Maybe you could take a walk outside, go get that sunshine, chug your cup of coffee, whatever it takes for you to get into the right mindset. Again, get your energy flowing. I love it. AC/DC, Beastie Boys. Yes, these are so good. LL Cool J. Love it. These are awesome.
Yeah, I remember Firestarter. That was a hell of a. That wasn't that Prodigy. I think it was Prodigy, Chris. I think that's who that was. That's old school. There's some Jeff Sherman. That's
that.
Good.
That was actually Cindy's walk-up song.
Cindy's walk-up song. Yeah, that was funny. In Phoenix, so Cindy's walk-up song. So a couple good ones in there. So cool.
These are so good. Okay, so point here, don't take yourself too seriously. I think that there is a stigma or there's this belief that we've got to be sitting at our desk and buttoned up and we got to be super serious and like with a scowl on our face. And that is the complete opposite of what you need to be doing on these calls. You got to walk in, energy up, smile on your face. In fact, I recommend you stand up during your calls. Okay, now that can be kind of difficult if you are making calls from your desktop. If you're using a call recording app and you're making calls from your desktop, that can be difficult. If you're using our WiseTrack CRM, you can actually make calls from your cell phone using the app, the WiseTrack app, and it will still record those calls for you. So therefore, you can stand up in your office, you can kind of be pacing, you can be walking while you're taking these calls, and people can feel that. All right. So don't take yourself too seriously because people can sense it. It is so obvious whenever someone's taking themselves too seriously. You're shut down like this, your body's facing down, your shoulders are hunched over, you haven't had a sip of water in 12 hours. It's very obvious. Okay. So get pumped up, get ready, get your blood flowing. Okay. Now, at the end of the day, I want you to schedule a daily debrief. So let's think about where we are. Number 1, in the morning, I'm going to repeat these things to myself. I'm going to tell myself that I'm the kind of person that wins. I'm the kind of person that attracts success everywhere I go. All right. Now, before the week even starts, I've got some power hours blocked in. So I'm not spending my brain space during the week, wondering when I'm going to fit in cold calls. It's already done. On Sunday evening, I like to go through my calendar and make sure I've got time for all of the things that need to be done. Huge proponent for time blocking. Okay. Right before I hit go on those calls, I'm going to make sure I've got my blood flowing, get my heart rate up. I'm excited. I'm ready to go. Now, at the end of the day, I'm going to make sure I have time for a daily debrief. So all this means is at the end of the day, I'm going to take 20 minutes and I'm going to say, what worked today? What objections did I hear? What did people respond to? What got people to open up? What got the yeses? What got the nos? What am I going to try differently tomorrow? Now, I recommend doing this debrief with your team. So if you are a sales leader on your team, if you are MSP and you have an SDR, if you are VP of sales and you have folks under you, appointment setters, dialers under you, or that you're outsourcing to, have a daily debrief. They work for you. That's the point here. Okay. If you are the dialer, you need to be talking about this stuff. Even if that's your profession, you've got to stay in this zone of growing. Okay. So every single day, I want you to have that daily debrief where you're talking about what worked today. What do I need to change? Hey, I got this objection. Here's how I pivoted it in the moment. What do you think about this? Here's what I'm going to try tomorrow. Okay, because every single one of us in here have to continue to grow. And we're not going to do that by staying stuck in our heads and by doing the same thing over and over and over again. People change every day. The market changes every day. Strategies change every day. And we got to be willing to change too. Okay, so daily debrief at the end of each day. Okay.
Hey, Lindsay, really quick, one thing that I would recommend to you guys on this, being a former MSP owner, so I can kind of sit in your chair. I've been there. I really, even still to this day, I have definitely cold called, but I struggle with it a lot personally. I don't like doing it. I'm way too ADD for it. So I hire people to do it. I also hire a manager. So on our team, I have a head of revenue. I have a head of revenue runs marketing and sales. And sales is run by our sales manager, Vianney. And she meets with him once a week, but he meets with the sales team every single day. They do a start of day, and then they do a summary debrief on every single day. So it's really important that you put these things in place. And if you can't personally do them, you have to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger so you can start to buy your time back or pay for things that you don't like to do. So I didn't have a head of revenue for a long time. I didn't have a sales manager for a long time. I didn't even have salespeople for a long time or setters for a long time. That means I was doing it all. And then as I got bigger, as I got more MRR, higher, buy my time back. And that's really important. And just because you're not good at it doesn't mean we skip it. That's a really important thing because that's what most MSP owners do is we're like, oh, I'm stuck at that, so I'm just not going to do it. That's not sales and lead gen, outbound lead gen specifically is not an optional. It's a mandate across your business. Okay, I'll shut up.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I think it's important that we remember no one was born good at this stuff.
Yeah.
No one was born. If you think about the greats, Dale Carnegie, Napoleon Hill, Russell Brunson, like all these people who we equate, Dan Kennedy, like all these people that we equate with like marketing and sales and like mindset and all these things, like they were not born that way. They learned from people in front of them. They watched what others did. They had mentors. They practiced over and over and over. They recorded their thoughts. They went back. They observed. They tested. They tried. What makes it any different for us? Okay. So make sure you've got that daily debrief every single day so that you can look back, reflect, make changes, pivot. Okay. Now, whenever we get ready to make our calls, I want you, and again, this kind of goes back to these best practices. I want you to dial like you want to be there. So dial like you mean it. What I mean by that is we got to have intention behind our dials. So I want you to choose a vertical that you are going to focus on. So a very hyper specific vertical. And whenever I say that, I don't mean, oh, healthcare. What part of healthcare? What type of healthcare? Are we focusing on surgeons? Are we focusing on orthopedic surgeons? Are we focusing on med spas? Are we focusing on, if you're going to do financial services? Okay, what part of financial services? Insurance agencies, CPA firms, tax law firms, like who specifically are we focusing on within these really, really broad industries? And we don't really talk about this today in this webinar, but in our previous webinar from last month, which I believe is still on the replay page, you can go back where we talk through several of the different list building platforms that we recommend, how to build your list, but please make sure that you are working a vertical specific list. And we want a list with at least 1,000 names on it. I think 1,000 is the baseline to work. And this list will typically last you about 3 months. You're going to work this 1,000 name list for about a quarter. Okay. The reason why we do that, I'm going to break down the math here in a minute, but the reason why we want to make sure that we're being targeted or that we're targeting vertical specific lists is because if I make phone calls, I've got to talk in specifics. I've got to talk about why this is important to that insurance agency. I've got to talk about why this is important to that law firm that specializes in taxes. I've got to talk about this, how this is important to that orthopedic surgeon's office, because messaging that is specific is what sells. If I'm targeting just any small business owner on this list, I don't know what industry I'm getting the best results from. There's no way for me to go back and successfully and effectively analyze that data and then make informed decisions from that, because I don't know. It's just a list from everybody in Jacksonville. Well, that doesn't help me. I need to know who's on that list. Okay. And then I want to specify it by industry, yes, but by geographic location, ideal employee count. So meaning, okay, I'm going to choose a list of, let's say, CPAs in the Jacksonville, Florida area. Ideal employee count is between 10 to 30 employees with an average or an annual revenue of at least $1 million to $10 million. Okay, so that's going to narrow down that list. Now, I can actually tell you what's going to happen on that list because I've done this for a really long time. I can tell you that list is not going to be big enough. Okay, because remember, I need 1,000 people on that list. So what would I have to do? I'd have to zoom out some. So then I would probably zoom out and I would look at Jacksonville, Orlando, Tallahassee. That's probably like middle of Florida and up. And I would look at this Northern Florida list and see if that would get me to 1,000. If not, then I'd probably go into South Georgia. And I'm going to keep making these shifts to my list so that I can have these focused lists and I have enough names on that list to target through my outbound outreach. Okay. Now, I also, and you can actually see here just a really quick screenshot of this. You can see where we've built a list. I'm not going to go through this a ton, but you can see where this list, we've got 749 names on here. I would want more names than that on there, but you can see where this is focused down by location to Texas. We went from 11 to 200 employees, and we actually zoomed out to the construction industry. And I was focusing on C-suite executives, so CEO, founders, presidents, and owners. And eventually I got to where I had 700 names on this list. You can also see where I started out with just one city. So I started out in Austin. I didn't get the numbers that I wanted. Then I went to San Marcos, didn't get the numbers that I wanted. Then I went to San Antonio, didn't get the number. And eventually I just zoomed all the way out to Texas. And I said, okay, we're going to focus on Texas construction with this many employees, with this revenue range for this list. And that's how I generated this list. So you need to have a list that looks just like this whenever you're making your calls. Okay. Now, whenever you,
I really want to say really quick here.
Yeah, go ahead. And if there's anything in the chat, Chris, like check that for me because I don't have it on my main screen over here.
Yep, I will do that. One side note, guys, this does not mean that this is only who we service or only who we take. Marketing is an outbound activity. Cold calling, outbound calling, all these things are an outbound activity. You can be specific on your lists and you can change so we can make a list of CPAs. Go down that path with them and then pick up and do a list of lawyers. It's just really important when you're doing the strategies that Lindsay's talking about to have something that you can speak to that relates to them. So she's going to go through a little bit more as we go here, but it's really important to understand we're not sitting here telling you only focus your MSP on working with CPAs or orthopedic clinics or whatever. No, that's who we outbound talk to. We'll take anything we can get for the most part, but be specific on your outbound messaging.
Yeah. Though I do think that once you hit a certain level, we're talking like 25 million, we can then start talking about, let's be an MSP that only works with law firms.
Yeah.
Let's be an MSP that only works on this. But I think until you're to that point, absolutely, we're going to focus on a quarterly basis, 3 to 6 month basis on focusing on those industries. So let's say I start at the beginning of the year, Q1 and Q2, I'm focusing on CPAs. Okay, cool. At the end of that 6 months, I'll then focus on manufacturing. At the end of that 6 months, I'll circle back to CPAs, and I'll do that for a few sales cycles because it takes people to move through that pipeline. It takes time. It takes people time to move through the pipeline and to make buying decisions. Okay.
Yeah. Got a couple of really good questions here. You got a minute for me to take these? So from Thomas here, going to put this on the screen. And Pet Love asked about, can you name some list building tools? We're going to get to that in a minute. So that's why I didn't bring that one up. But how long does it take to find 1,000 companies to create a list like that?
I'm actually not going to be covering list building tools today, so I'll just list off a couple right now. Okay. Apollo.io is one that you can use. We have seamless.ai that you could use. Sales Navigator is great. That's all based in LinkedIn. Those are the top 3 that I would recommend. And then as far as the time that it takes to build that list, I mean, you just kind of saw how we went through that, how you start really, really hyper-focused on a geography and on, 20 to 50 employees or whatever your ideal employee count is. And then you may have to zoom out some to get the list to where you want it. And sometimes you won't make it to that 1,000 because there's just not, like, you're hyper targeting. So there's just not that volume available where you're looking. So maybe you have a list of CPA firms in, let's say, Jacksonville, we'll go back to that example, or North Florida. And then I'm like, well, that really didn't get me to where I want. Now I'm going to add in that mid to South Georgia list as well. Now I'm going to take note on these separately. Okay, that way I can make note in my data and I'm able to say, oh, well, this list of North Florida converted at a 23% rate. This list of South Georgia converted at a 13% conversion rate. That tells me where I need to double down. Okay, so take note if you're going to change your list that way. And we're going to talk about documentation and what notes you need to be taking as you make these calls as well.
I would also say, depending on the tool, I mean, we're talking minutes to create these lists. You want to be very specific on them. But if I use LinkedIn Sales Navigator, I know Lindsay likes Apollo a lot. But either one, there's more than one ways to do this, guys. But I'd say, like, on Sales Navigator, I don't know, I was on your marketing machine call about a month ago or so. I think I created a really good 1,000-person list in 10 minutes, give or take. It doesn't take that long. The key is, I think the biggest key is, don't use these crappy free tools, guys. Have something that you're actually paying for that's worth it. It's important.
Yep.
Okay.
And most list builders are going to spend at least like $100 a month on, and
Yeah.
that should average. Just factor it into your marketing budget.
Yep, I agree with that. So Don said, so 1,000 is ideal, but if you're an area that is not able to support 500 to 1,000, is that good?
It's 500 to 1,000. Good. I think that's a good starting block.
Yeah, Don's in Hawaii, he said. So
Okay.
he's got pretty limited. I think you're going to probably have to expand out. My suggestion, Don, in your case, is you may want to look at multiple islands. You may even want to look at co-managed on a couple of things. Don's in our 0 to 10K program. I know that. So that might be something we look at. He said, yeah, for instance, my state only has a 1.2 population, probably not going to find 1,000 businesses in any profile, not one, but you combine it together and you do your best. That's really what it is. Getting a little bit better every day.
Yeah, this GIF is driving me crazy, so I'm gonna like flip this.
That's okay. You're not a fan. I mean, it's not my slide deck, so we'll see.
We'll go back.
Okay, last couple questions here. I just want to make sure we cover these. We'll have some Q&A at the end too, guys. So, but these are very specific. Joe said, Joe's in our elite program. Are all 1,000 names individual companies, or are we targeting several people within a company? It's a great question, actually.
People. I'm looking at people.
Yeah.
So whenever I build out this list, I'm looking at people, and you can actually see right here, I've got Roman, Jersom, Jim, Steven, Michael, but like I'm looking at people on this list. I can technically export this by company, but if it's a really good list, it may take me going through 3 different.
Yeah. And something I'd say too, Joe, depending on the company, you probably do want to target multiple people in the same company. Like, for example, at my company, if you targeted me and a couple of other executives on my team, you're going to get better traction. And all 3 of them, 3 or 4 or 5 of them are going to come to me and talk about it.
Yep.
So I would say you're even going to probably have better luck with targeting my head of revenue than you're going to get targeting me directly, because I don't look at email. Like, it's that kind of stuff that's important, right? Mm-hmm. So it's just like that's the stuff that's key. So let's see. I think that's pretty good. Last one is from Thomas here. Are these lists get created worldwide or just in the USA? Really depends on the list building tool, but there are list building tools in every country.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Keep
awesome. Okay. Okie dokie. All right. So if we do the math on this, right? So today's webinar is all about, I want to book 10 qualified calls per month. Well, guess what? I like to go above and beyond. So I'm going to help you book 25 calls a month. If I break this down, here's where these numbers come from. And this is ring true from working with our clients. See this happening every single month in Marketing Machine, in Leads Mastery. These are the numbers that are industry-wide for MSPs. If I make 1,000 calls, I can count on about 500 answers. So that means that only 500 of them are going to pick up the phone, or I'm ever even going to get through to someone to get to the yes. Okay. Now, out of those 500 answers, I'm going to account for a 5% yes rate. So all that means, I'll note, that does not say a 5% yes, I'm going to be your client, or a 5% yes, I want to sign up for a CSRA. This is a yes rate of yes, I will attend your webinar. Yes, I will attend your cybersecurity briefing. Yes, send me the checklist. This is whatever our ask is on the phone. Okay. And I'm going to talk about which one of these you actually see higher conversion rates on, and where I would be spending my time if I were you. But if I'm targeting a list of 1,000, that's going to, on the end of that, it's going to pop me out 25 yeses. Okay. So this would be about a quarter's worth of FTAs if I'm looking to book 10 a month. Okay. So if I could just up it a little bit more, up my conversion rates, I'll hit those 10 per month. And with 30 appointments.
Yeah,
okay?
Here's a couple numbers really quick, just so you guys know. This is directly from 2 of my dialers on our internal team from Friday. Now, the numbers are going to vary depending on the day, depending on the market, depending on the vertical that you go after. But this is we have 2 different dialers. One's calling for our live events. The other one is calling for basically 7-figure MSP strategy sessions is what they're trying to pitch. This was Friday for both these guys. This is Naweed, 202 calls in a day, 8 answered out of 202, 8. 2 conversations, 1 call offer, 1 0 to 10 link sent, 1, and he had 3 event conversations, 3 registration offers made, 2 event links sent, and 1 event registration. So not a great day, but it's also a Friday in spring break time. You got to understand that you can't get, but he made 202 calls in a day, and he's got follow up and content, and he's able to clean the list on the fly too. So valuable. Here's Michael. Michael's calling on the 7-figure MSP side, not the event side. 152 calls, had 5 conversations, 2 call offers, and 2 discoveries booked. So he basically had, out of 152 dials, he got 5 that answered.
Yep.
2 yeses. Just part of the deal.
So that's really good. So I'll actually share this. We had this come through today. So in our Leads Mastery program, we do end of day reporting. This company called 92. They made 92 outbound calls. 13 calls were accepted. So that's how many actually got picked up. So out of 92 calls, only 13 of them picked up the phone. 12 LinkedIn connections were sent. So out of those that were accepted, they sent 12 LinkedIn connections. They pitched 1 first-time appointment. So what that tells me is it was either voicemail or they didn't get to the right person to pitch the FTA, but they did have 1 webinar registrant accepted. So out of those 13 calls that were accepted, 1 FTA was pitched, 0 was booked, and then 1 webinar registrant accepted. So that's okay. We got a webinar register out of it. So super key to know those numbers. Okay, now it's really important that you work this list until it can't be worked anymore. So that means that, yes, I've got this list of 1,000 leads. I'm going to keep circling back through this list. It's going to take multiple touch points. It's going to take the LinkedIn connections. It's going to take the follow-up series. It's going to take us calling them again, being persistent and making sure that we're not giving up after 1 outbound call. Okay, that's why it's so key to make sure that I have them in my CRM and that I'm taking notes and that I have a process to follow with these calls and with this outbound marketing. Okay. Now, whenever and this is kind of just reiterating that, whenever when I make these calls, my goal is to get the yes. My goal is to get the very next yes. It's so important to remember that I'm not trying to sell them on my CSRA yet. I'm not trying to sell them on my services yet. I'm not trying to send them a quote yet. I'm not trying to do any of that. I'm just trying to get through to the decision maker and then to get that very first yes. Okay. So when we're doing that, let's make sure that we're making the gatekeeper our friend. So the secretary, the admin assistant, whoever it is that's answering the phone, make them your friend. Introduce yourself. Be likable. Treat them like a human, because that's going to go so much further than diminishing who they are or being rude or passive aggressive or acting like they're a nobody. They're not a nobody, or they wouldn't be answering the phone. They're a valuable part of that company, and they are trusted to do a job, which is to filter the phone calls and make sure that the CEO or the leader's time is spent where it needs to be spent. Okay, so be nice to these people, make them your friend, make them smile. I promise you that's going to go so much farther than trying to just bypass them or being rude to them. Okay, now here's what we want to do. We want to add the leads to your CRM. So this can be WiseTrack, this can be whatever CRM you're using, with the tag cold lead. So this lets me know that I got to work them like a cold lead. They have not opted in to be in my database. They've not opted in for me to market to them. I am doing outbound cold marketing to them. So therefore I got to tag them appropriately so that I can send them appropriate marketing materials. Okay. I'm going to make sure that I'm taking notes on each of these contacts. Okay. So and I'll tell you exactly what notes to keep here. I've got a whole list for us here. Okay. But I'm going to make sure I add them into my CRM and I'm taking notes on each of the calls that I'm making. You want to call from your CRM and record your calls. I cannot make decisions. I cannot make analyses. I cannot make assumptions or assessments from things that are not documented and recorded. Okay, so go ahead and get into the habit in recording your calls. Now, I always get asked this question, so I went ahead and gave you all a resource. Every state has different laws around call recording disclosure. Do your due diligence. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know. Do your due diligence. Here is a link. I was actually just researching the most up-to-date call laws last night. This was the most recent article I could find that actually condensed all these laws without me having to go through and read hundreds or thousands of pages of laws. And you can see this link right here. And I actually have the map pasted in here. But this is a really quick overview of one-party consent states. And also this link back here gives you different countries as well and their different laws as well. So I would use this. We're not associated with them in any way, but go through, read through this resource and then do your own due diligence. So these are one-party consent states according to this resource. These are the states that only need one person on the phone call to know that the call is being recorded. So obviously, if I'm making the phone call, if I was making calls in Georgia, cool, I would know that I'm the one party that knows that the call is being recorded. Easy. Now, these are the states that are two-party consent states. That means, oh, if I'm in Florida, I'm making calls in Florida, both people on that line have to know that the call is being recorded. Okay, so in WiseTrack, you actually have the option to give it this automatic message whenever someone picks up that the call is being recorded. You can also let them know, hey, this is Lindsay from ABC Tech. I just want to let you know the call is being recorded. Don't worry, I'm just going to be talking to you about XYZ. Do you have 30 minutes or 30 seconds to spare? Okay, so I can be friendly and I can throw that in there. Don't let that deter you from doing lead generation. It takes you 0.3 seconds to say, hey, by the way, this call is being recorded. Don't worry, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so don't let that be a deterrent. Plug it in, be compliant. You can get sued for not disclosing this. So I do not recommend doing that.
What's your thoughts on just if you're in a two-party consent state to not record the call? It's tough for training, and I understand that because, like, for example, we record all of our calls internally.
I don't recommend that.
Okay.
I would record it and I would just embrace it and say, hey, this is a cold call right now. I'm calling, the call's being recorded. Embrace
and most people that are in the two-party consent states already know that that's a rule for the most part. I think, like, you're in Florida, you know that. I'm pretty sure. So.
Yep. Because again, we cannot make decisions off of things that we're not documenting or recording. So I record it anyways.
Okay.
Okay. So whenever we're making these calls, here's the plan. We want to create a neutral landing place for your leads. Okay. So if you already have, if you're a dialer or if you're already doing outbound calls, let me know in the chat, what's your conversion rate averaging if you're pitching straight up first time appointments? I'm genuinely curious. If you are making the pitch on the call, trying to drive them to an appointment with your sales team, what's your conversion rate running right now?
It's got to be less than 1%. That's really difficult to do and super low.
It's very difficult to do. Okay. Here's the thing. I want to create a neutral landing place to send people to first. Now, I'm going to give you some examples here, but the reason why I do this is because it's scary to say, oh, I'm going to go spend 15 minutes with you. I don't even know you. What do you mean? What are we going to talk about? That's a waste of my time. I'm busy. I'm a busy business owner. I don't have time to go sit on the phone with you for 15 minutes about something that I'm not even sure is for me or not. Okay. So I want to create a neutral landing place first. Now, that's not to say that I can't pitch an FTA later. I'm going to show you how to do that because after we get one yes, it's going to be easier to get the second yes. Okay. But first, I've got to create a neutral landing place. And you're going to see that your conversion rates will skyrocket. Okay.
So really quick, can we define what a neutral landing place is?
Yeah, I'm going to give you some examples.
Okay. Just want to make sure because I know it's going to come up.
Yep. So examples of neutral landing places.
I didn't see your content yet. Brand new.
Beautiful. So this is a webinar. This is, for an example, what your CPA firm needs to know about the FTC safeguards. So this means when I'm making my calls, I'm not saying, hey, Mr. Busy Business Owner, would you like to set up an appointment with Cyber Joe on how to protect your business against hackers? He's going to say, no, I already have an MSP. No, I already have an IT department. We don't need that. Oh, okay. Well, have a great day. What do you mean? So instead, I'm going to create this neutral landing place where I'm like, hey, Mr. Busy Business Owner, we are putting on a community training on Thursday where we're going to be teaching what your firm needs to know about the new FTC safeguards. I get it. Tax season is in full swing right now. We need to make sure that you are compliant. We can also bring in your IT department. Okay. Next Thursday at 3 p.m. Who's the best person to send this contact info to? Boom. So now I've created this safe land or this neutral landing place that brings them in where I can educate them. I can inform them. As I had my phone up to my ear, it was like vibrating. But I can bring them into this neutral landing place. Then I can pitch the FTA. Then I can bring them into the next step of booking a one-on-one call with me. But you're going to see that your conversion rates are going to be a lot lower trying to get them into a one-on-one call in this very first ever touch point. Okay. Another example is a weekly cybersecurity briefing. This is like a weekly 15, 20-minute briefing that every single week you're hosting on repeat where you're sharing, hey, times have changed. Cyber attacks are way up. Here are things that are going on right now that you need to be aware of. How are you being proactive in protecting your company? Book your appointment here. Book your discovery session with us here. And then you're driving them to the appointment. Okay, you can also do a checklist. We have the 15 ways to protect your business checklist within our 7-figure MSP program. We have several of our members are authors on best-selling books. So this you can offer to send them a complimentary chapter of your best-selling book. Okay, great. Who's the best person in your company to send this over to? Just to let you know, chapter 3 is where I talk about XYZ. I'm going to go ahead and send this over to you. Cool. So these are places, these are places that I can bring leads into it because they're just humans. I'm going to bring these humans into this place, educate them, give them something tangible, give them something that makes this real instead of me trying to push them into a corner to have a one-on-one conversation with me. I don't want that anyways. That's probably going to be a waste of my time because they're so early and they're so cold inside of the buyer's journey. So I got to warm them up first. Now, once I get that first yes from them, okay, and you're going to see how this plays out in our script that's going to come up here shortly. Once I get this first yes from them, so once I get them to say yes to the webinar or I get them to say yes to the briefing, then I can ask for the next yes, okay? So it's easier to get a yes after I've already gotten the first yes. So think about this of whenever you're checking out. I'm like Bath and Body Works. Bath and Body Works. Chris, have you ever been to Bath and Body Works? I'm sure you have.
Unfortunately.
Okay, so I love their candles. That's like the only place I will buy candles.
They do have good candles. I'll give you that.
They have the best candles, right? The 3 wicks, so great. So I go like twice, two or three times a year probably, and I'll stock up on like cases of candles. And that's all I go in there for are the candles. That's it. That's it. But when I'm checking out, they create this maze of products that you have to get through while you're waiting on the checkout line or while you're waiting to check out. So while you're in this line, there's all these little things, right? There's the hand sanitizer. There's the little travel size sprays. Oh, there's the car fresheners, the wallflowers, all these additional products. Well, other than there's the mini candles. So while I'm standing in that line, guess what? Because in my head, I have already subconsciously said yes to Bath and Body Works through all these candles. I already have this trust that's bought in with them. So then my brain is going to, oh, well, let me just buy this mini candle. Or, oh, let me buy this hand sanitizer or whatever it is. Because one, I've already said yes the first time. But two, subconsciously, I want to confirm the decision that I already made. Okay. So this is the psychology behind like an add-on or the psychology behind first, I pitched the neutral landing place. Second, I pitched the first time appointment. And again, you're going to see this in the script here in a few minutes. But then I want to pitch the next thing because people want to be reassured of the decision that they made. Okay. If you think about whenever you go buy a new car, you buy the new car. Oh my God, I just spent $60,000 on this new car. Cool. What are they going to sell you whenever you're signing the paperwork? Gap insurance. They're going to sell you the gap insurance. They want to make sure that you're protected. They want to sell you the warranties. They want to sell you all these other things. Why does it work? Because you've already said yes to a $60,000 purchase or more. Okay. And then they're going to say, well, we want to make sure that you're protected and let's get this extended warranty. Your brain wants to let you know that, yeah, I made a good decision. Let me go ahead and say yes to this too. Yeah, I'm a smart business person. I know how to make great decisions. Yes. Okay. So we want to do the same thing in our calls. Now, whenever I'm booking them, I want to book them directly on my calendar. This is a huge mistake that I've seen in countless calls and countless touch points and countless outreaches. We do not want to send them the funnel to your webinar. We do not want to send them the funnel to your book or the calendar link to go choose their own time. I'm going to have those links up and ready to go on one of my 3 monitors so that whenever I get that yes on the phone, I can go and pop their contact information right there into my funnel. Okay, say it with me. We do not send links. We do not send links. I'm going to add them in like the proactive professional that I am. I'm going to go add them into my funnel or add them into my calendar link. Okay, so if you are SDR or dialer, I'm making calls to go on Cyber Joe's sales calendar. I'm going to make sure I've got Cyber Joe's sales calendar pulled up. I'm also going to make sure that I've got our webinar funnel pulled up. So that when I get the yes for the webinar, boom, I go type them into the webinar just as if I was the lead. I'm going to go type in their contact info. It's going to fire off the automation or fire off the email that gets automatically sent to them that says, congrats, you're signed up for the webinar. We'll see you there at this day and this time. Boom, that's done. Hey, Mr. Busy Business Owner, did you go ahead, go check your email for me? Yep, just go refresh your email. Okay, awesome. Do you see an email from cyberjoe@abctech.com? Okay, awesome. Go ahead and open that up for me. Let me just make sure that everything came through. All right, cool. Do you see the link to join us next Thursday? Okay, awesome. That's going to be the link that you use to join into our webinar next Thursday. Okay, so that's doing several subconscious things here. Number 1, that's training them to open my emails. Number 2, that's letting them know that we got it going on. We know what's happening. Our automations are working. Okay, they can trust us. All right. And number 3, it's taking all that extra work off of their plate of them having to go find the time, enter in their information, all that red tape that gets stacked up and keeps them from doing the thing that I want them to do. Okay. So book them directly on the calendar.
Yep. Had a question that just came in, Lindsay, from Chris Wilson. What day would you say for the weekly event? I have a recommendation on that, and I want to hear your take. I always did mine Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursdays. Now, note, we do ours on Mondays. We've seen success working with MSPs on Monday afternoon. So while that's actually against my normal historical stuff, you gotta look at your market and see how it changes. So I usually say Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday for your weekly event. What's your thoughts, Linz?
My thought is it doesn't matter. It's the day that you are the most energetically present, the day that you don't have kids at home for spring break, the day that you don't have 3 sales presentations to do, the day that you're not in all day meetings. I think it's the day that you're going to be on it. You're going to be ready. You're going to be energetically present, and you can devote your full attention to that. Any day of the week works. You just got to work it. Okay, now whenever you get to the end of your call, here's the notes that you're going to plug in, okay? Now we want, and think about this, we want these calls to go fast. If I've only got a power hour in the morning and a power hour in the afternoon, I've got to make this time count. So what I want to be doing is in my notes section, in WiseTrack, for example, I can't speak to Salesforce, but in WiseTrack, I can go directly to that contact, boop, click on the contact, boop, go to notes, answer or no answer. I can type in answer. If I put in no answer, left message, okay? Accepted or declined invitation, declined or accepted FTA, and then any follow-up notes. So the FU notes means follow-up, by the way. Did I create a task to call them back on this date? Did I send them the checklist? Did I get a different contact number? Were they rude and said they never wanted to talk to me again? Okay, plug it in as a note, right? But make it like 20 seconds or less to go in and plug these notes in. Okay, now there are apps out there that will AI transcribe your calls and then we'll turn it into notes and we'll like do all these things for you. My advice on automating any of this or on using AI or any of these cool tools, don't do that first. Start here, do it the old fashioned way. If you got to write it down with a pen and paper to begin with, a number 2 pencil and a notebook, composition book, I don't care. Do it this way first. Get your brain into the habit of writing these notes, reflecting on these calls, okay, knowing the info that we need to know at the end of each call, okay? Then we can go and look at other tools that are going to help us automate this. And that's the rule of thumb for anything.
We also want to be documenting process so we can delegate this in the future.
Absolutely.
So it's really important that you're staying on top of this. You have something you can hand off, because the thing with this is you're going to have this whole deal that you do or that you've built internally. There's 2 things with this. There's you doing it on your own and building it out. You got to have something that you can actually offload. It needs to be a process and a system if you're going to do that. Second, don't just dump this on some staffer and expect them to perform. Lindsay, are you going to talk about agencies at all today or no?
No.
Okay. So one other thing I want to tell you guys on this, don't just blind hire an agency and they're like, oh, I'll get you 20 appointments a month. They're going to use their process, guys. They're going to probably sell their way. And most agencies that I've seen don't know what they're doing. They're great at booking calls, but is it the right type of call? Is it the right message? Is it the right stuff that's being projected to them? The last thing you want to be saying to a prospect is, we're the cheapest MSP in town.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So keep
and
that
that's
in
what they're going to use. That's so good. That's what they're going to use, because what are they getting paid on?
They're getting paid on quality or quantity, not quality.
Yeah, that's right. And so, well, again, like while they may put the calls on your calendar, maybe it's not going to be the right calls. Also, how are you going to scale that? Like how do you have any control over that? So I actually have clients right now. We have clients in our Leads Mastery Mastermind that are locked into 12-month contracts with these outsourced agencies that are call booking agencies. And they're inside of our mastermind training a team at the same time, because as soon as that contract ends, they're ditching them and they're already going to have their team ready to go. They're already investing time and resources into their team on a process that they know and they can scale and they can repeat. Okay, so once you end the call, make sure you got your notes into your CRM. Now let's talk about what happens in the actual call. Are we ready? Are we ready to talk about what we do in the actual call? Because we just kind of talked about before the call and after the call and all these notes and things. Let's talk about what we do in the call. Number one, tonality is everything. Now, if I came into this webinar today and I'm like, all right, guys, today we're going to talk about cold calls. So important that you know about cold calls because you need to grow your business, right?
You realize this is what you sound like, right?
That is not how I sound. So that has a completely different feel than like, all right, let's do this. Let's go. We're excited. We're going to book some calls. Let's go make some money. That has an entirely different feel to it. So we want to make sure that whenever we're making calls, we are intentional with the tone that we're using. That's why, again, I'm going to reiterate this. You turn on the music first. You go for a walk. You go to the gym in the morning. You repeat those affirmations to yourself. You do whatever it is that you have to do to get in the right headspace. Because if you feel bored, irritated, salesy, or nervous, I promise you the person on the other end is going to hear it. Okay? If you're rolling your eyes during these calls, they're going to hear it. Smile. Put a smile on your face. Stand up. Do what you have to do. You're making money. If you're a dialer or an SDR, you're probably going to get paid on these things. You're making money. If you're the MSP, this is money in the bank. So let's get excited about that. Okay? Smile when you dial. We want to make sure, I love these cats. So these cats are on, like, they're like famous on Instagram, and you see these cats. I think it was so perfect for this slide. Huge kudos to Ron, our graphic designer, for putting these on here. But we want to create a dialogue, not a monologue. So what I mean by this is, and I've seen this happen in countless call recordings where you make a call and then they answer and then you're talking for like 45 seconds. Don't do that. You have lost them. They don't know you. Like, why are we still talking? You do your quick intro. We're gonna practice this here in a second. You do a quick intro, you let them talk. We want to create a back and forth dialogue, not a monologue. So it's not just me talking. Hey, this is Lindsay from ABC Tech. We help CPA firms in the Jacksonville area protect their businesses. We also work with IT departments, and we pride ourselves on fast service and ticket times, and we make sure that you have cybersecurity. Like, what? I've lost them. I've totally lost them. Okay, so I got to be quick and I got to be concise, and I want to open them up to talk back to me as soon as possible. Okay. A couple of intros here. So let's practice this. Feel free to screenshot, take notes, take a picture of this. A couple of intros. Hey, let's see. Hey, Mrs. Gatekeeper. This is Lindsay. Is Mr. Busy Business Owner around? He didn't know I was calling today, but I got something really quick that I need to run by him. And then that opens up the dialogue for Mrs. Gatekeeper to say something back to me, Mr. or Mrs. whatever, to say something back to me, right? I'm not going to lead with a 45-second long pitch of who I am and who I help. Okay. And that's going to be contrary to the scripts that you get from ChatGPT. Please do not pull your scripts from ChatGPT. Everything I'm going to share with you today is real human. It's really proven, and none of it came from ChatGPT. Okay. Huge mistake. ChatGPT is not a marketer. Oh my God, we could do an entire webinar about ChatGPT.
ChatGPT is not your marketing menu.
It is not a marketer or a salesperson. In fact, it's pretty terrible for that. So anyways, next example of this. And then you've probably actually heard this one from like other salespeople where it's like, hey, I'm going to preface and ask them if they have time to share. So I'd say, hey, Gatekeeper, how are you? This is Lindsay from ABC Tech. Oh, good. I'm doing great. Whatever. Hey, really quick, do you have 60 seconds to spare? I'll share why I'm calling. You'll smile at my persistence. Yes, it's a cold call. Then you can go back to knitting or working or procrastinating or whatever it was that you were doing. Do we got a yes? Okay, so it's really fun. It's really light. They're probably going to laugh at me. And number one, you got to be okay with looking a little crazy, right? I sound a little crazy saying this. But number two, I'm creating, I'm kind of breaking down the tension that's in a cold call, right? Because, oh, they're going to know I'm cold calling them. Duh. Of course they're going to know. Of course they are, right? That's okay. So can I break down the tension? And so these are different strategies, right? You got to find what works. Then we can also go this route. Hey, Gatekeeper, this is Lindsay from ABC Tech. I'm calling in regard to a CPA firm cyber incident. Who handles your computers? Boom. Now I'm going to create the N. So we're calling in regards to the cyber incident. So maybe there was a breach that just happened in our area. Maybe I'm calling about something in the industry that happened, and I'm going to be sending them to my cybersecurity briefing. Whatever it is, then I'm asking them, who handles your computers? Okay, so they're not always going to know who handles cybersecurity. Also, I think that the word cybersecurity can create the illusion of exclusion sometimes. So what that means is that when people hear the word cybersecurity, they already think that doesn't apply to them for all the reasons that we know that people say that. We're too small. We're not going to get hacked. Doesn't apply to us. We have insurance. We live in Georgia. Well, that doesn't happen here. Whatever. Okay. So we have to talk in language and use words that they can relate to. Hey, who handles your computers? That they're either going to send me to the IT person. Cool, I'll do co-manage. Or they're going to send me to whoever inside of the company does order their computers or handle the technology side of stuff. Okay, so 3 different intros here. You can choose from any of these, try them out, test them out, wear them like a new pair of shoes, wear them in, and try out a different pair. Okay. Now, once you get through your intro, you want to be very brief in the pitch. So this is just me getting my foot in the door. And again, opening up for that dialogue. I just want to get them talking back to me. Okay, so these are my example intros.
Hey, real quick, Lindsay, real quick. I got a question from Joe. I'm going to put it on the screen. You can read that.
All right, this might be a dumb question, but if you have several contacts at the same company, would space those calls out to avoid the gatekeeper catching onto you, trying to reach several people there? Yeah, you totally can, Joe. Also, whenever you plug your contacts into Wisetrack, you can plug them into a company. So whenever you're making your calls, you will actually be able to see if they're in the same company. So
and it's a really, really good example around the dialogue, not a monologue thing, because think about this. If you call the gatekeeper and you actually have a conversation with them, that's like,
yep.
Hey, I have this person, and this person on my list. Which one is the best to talk to about this?
That's right.
Think about that. So you're not just like blindly calling like, hello, I would like to talk to Mike. Hello, I would like to talk to Robert. Like you're not a robot. Have a conversation and a strategy. Act like a human. Think about this. If you're going to call a house to ask for 3 different people to talk to, you're not going to be like, make 3 different calls. You're going to ask the person that answers the phone, hey, is so-and-so there? Okay, what about this? Or who's the best person to talk to about this? That's the conversation. That's the dialogue. You're not a robot. Okay.
I love that. That's so good. And again, it's going to create that likableness between you and the gatekeeper, right? And it's like, hey, look, my name's Lindsay. What's your name? Okay, awesome. Hey, I'm looking for this person. Now, are they in the office? Okay, if not, I want to find the person that handles the computers because we just had a security incident. Who would be the best person for that? Okay, then you can go in and update your contacts. You can go in and clear out the ones that are not the right person for that anyways. So it's such a great point. If you're creating a dialogue, it's not really going to be that big of an issue. Okay. Remember, you're not selling them on your cybersecurity services or on the CSRA or even why they should leave their current MSP or their current IT provider. Because we don't know if they should or not. Maybe they're good. Maybe they're fine, right? We don't even know if we want to work with them. All we're trying to do is get them to the very next yes. So yes, to listen to you for 30 seconds. Yes, to send you through to the decision maker. Yes, to attend your webinar. Yes, to checking their email. So do you see how it has nothing to do with, will you pay $1,500 for a CSRA? Hey, yes, will you get this risk assessment? Will you become our client? None of that. No. So whenever I hear this, I've heard this several times, and the more that we're talking about calling, well, what do you do whenever someone tells you that they already have an IT department and they're happy with them and they're already doing all this stuff? Well, first of all, why are you having that conversation inside of a cold call? Like that shouldn't even come up inside of the cold call for them to even be giving you objections yet, because they don't even know what your product is yet. They don't even know what your solution is yet, because you haven't had time to convey that or even find their pain points or even do discovery within a 15-second cold call. So how can they be giving you that objection?
Yep. Hey, Lindsay, I got another question here that totally relates to this. So Tom said, if you are an MSSP, which is a managed security service provider, for the record, a little higher up than an MSP selling security first, most kind of co-managed mindset, or tool focused, maybe service focused. that sells cybersecurity products mostly in the service support as a secondary. How do you start the call? So look at what Lindsay's saying here, Thomas, and understand that you shouldn't be pitching a product. You should still be looking for that very next yes, and it's the third option here. Yes, to listen to you for 30 seconds. Yes, to send you through to the decision maker. Yes, to attend your offering. And that doesn't mean it's your product. It's your first yes. So
the
it's
neutral landing place.
Exactly. It's that neutral landing place like Lindsay talked about earlier. So it's the webinar or the cybersecurity briefing or something of real value that that prospect cares about. That's like, oh, Thomas knows what the hell he's talking about. Yes, I'm interested in that.
Mm-hmm.
That matters.
Beautiful. So what we're doing with this is we're starting the yes train. This is something that we've probably all heard before. If you've read any like sales books or like done even like a sales training for work or anything like that, you've heard of this yes train. It's like once you get them to say yes to one thing, then, oh, can I get the next yes? Can I get the next yes? Can I get the next yes? Okay. So that's kind of what we're doing here. I just got to get them to say yes to the very first thing. Then it's going to become easier and easier and easier for them to say yes to the next thing. So and I got 4 pages of this, so hang with me, okay? This is an example talk track, and it's all one talk track, but I'm going to break it down and why we do this, because here's the thing, actually, before I go there is no perfect script. I know.
Lindsay and I are both against scripts, for the record.
Absolutely. So we hosted a cold call clinic 2 weeks ago for our elite clients. And this is where you came into a call with me for 60 minutes, you and your dialer, whoever it is that's making calls in your company. And we did on the spot calls inside of this group. We all went on mute. We had our cameras on so I could see if you were smiling or not. And then we did calls inside of this group. Did I give them a script for these calls? Nope. We did like a 10-minute pump me up, kind of get going thing in the beginning of it. Gave them some pointers. Everyone had their list. They had a call to action. And then they made calls, period. So there was no script. So I'm going to walk you through a talk track, not a script. This is a talk track because why? This is my language. This is my verbiage. These are the words that I used when I wrote this. I probably won't even use these words whenever I read it back to you because that's not how I naturally talk in the moment. So if you're trying to read these things from a script, it's going to sound scripted. You're going to stammer. You're going to kind of stumble. You're going to get choked up. You don't want that. You want it to be conversational because, again, if you're creating the dialogue, it is a true conversation. Okay, but you're going to I want to go through this, and you'll see in the yellow. So I've got what my part would be. Then I have it under yellow. It's highlighted right there. Why I say it that way. I want to teach you the why behind it, the psychology of why we do the talk track this way. Okay. All right, so I get through the intro. So remember back here's my intro. Hey, do you have 60 seconds to run something by you? They say, sure, I got 60 seconds. Go for it. Cool. All right, so here we go. Okay, so I'm calling because you're on a high-risk list for cyber breaches in the North Florida area. Are you the one that handles the computer security in your company? Yeah, well, it's me, but I also work with so-and-so in the company, right? So I'm going to wait for them to tell me if it's me or someone else. I want to keep this brief. So notice this was brief. It's not about me. It's not about my company. I'm opening up the dialogue. I'm also letting them know why I'm calling. I'm calling because you're on this list for high risk for cyber breaches in the XYZ area. So whenever you go pull your list, you're pulling a list for CPAs. They're high risk for being breached, for being hacked, for being compromised. Okay. So I'm calling them and I'm finding out who handles the computer security in their company. All right. I get my yes or my no. Okay, awesome. So this Thursday, we are actually hosting a cybersecurity briefing. We are going to be talking about things that you need to know to make sure that you all are protected. Now, I don't see you on the list here. So let me just confirm. Are you or anyone else in your company already attending this briefing? Okay, so what have I done here? I've created urgency. There's a list. There's a list of super important people and you're not on here. You need to be on the list. Why aren't you attending? Okay, so that's the subconscious implantation of there's a list of these people that are already here. I don't see your name there. Why aren't you coming? Okay, yes or no? Next page. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I get you registered. It's very important that you arrive on time. Our chief security officer will start right on time. It's 11 o'clock on Thursday. It's going to be held through a secure Zoom link, and there will be a recording available Although I always recommend attending live. What's the best email to go ahead and I will personally send this link to you right now? Oh, well, yeah, sure. Here's my gatekeeper at ABC law firm, whatever. Cool. Now, what I've done right here in the yellow, you can see I've set very clear expectations of what they can expect inside of this briefing. Now, if I was hosting a webinar, I would say, okay, I'm going to make sure I get you registered for this upcoming training, this upcoming community training for CPA firms. It's very important that you arrive on time. We will start on time. Okay. Yes, there will be a recording available, but I always recommend attending live so you can get your questions answered on the spot. What's the best email to send the link to? Okay. Clear expectations, and we're going to confirm contact details. That's why I say, what's the best email to send the link to? And whenever I say link, I'm not talking about the sign up link. I'm talking about the link to join the room. Okay. So then I get the email, I input it directly into my sign up funnel. Now, note here, I did not send the sign up link, but I inputted it directly right there on the spot. All right. So go ahead and check your email for me. Did you receive that invite? Yep. It'll be addressed from Lindsay at ABC Tech. Okay. Awesome. Yep. Go ahead and open that up. Now scroll down a little bit. Do you see a Zoom link right there? Okay, great. So that's the exact link that you're going to use whenever it's time to join the meeting. Now, remember, it's very important that you get there on time. Okay, cool. And you'll see here on the next part. Okay, great. Now, our team doesn't have any slots available today, but really quick question. Do you know if you've had a cyber strategy session in at least the last 3 months? And they're probably going to say, well, what's a cyber strategy session? Or no, I don't think we have. What I've done here, so think about this. I've gotten the yes to my neutral landing place. Now, what am I doing right now? I'm getting my next yes. Okay, so I've gotten yes to the cyber briefing. Now I'm going forward and I'm asking them for the first time appointment. Okay, so now they're going to say, well, no, we haven't had a cyber strategy session. We have insurance, I think, but I don't think we've had a strategy session. Okay, so no worries. The next available date I have is that Friday right after the briefing. I've got a 2 o'clock that day. This is going to be a one-on-one consult with our security team to assess your risk. Now it's complimentary since you're going to be attending the briefing. So does Friday 2 p.m. work for you? Okay, cool. We're going to go ahead and lock you in. Let me go ahead and get you scheduled. Same email to send that to. Is there anyone else in the company that needs to be there for this strategy session? Oh, well, yeah, my business partner needs to be there. Okay, cool. What's their email? I'm going to get them plugged into the invite as well. All right, now go ahead and check your email for me again. Yep, it's going to be the same email, Lindsay at ABC Tech. Open that up. Yep, you see that link in there? Okay, that's your secure link that you're going to join through. All right, awesome. I look forward to speaking to you. Again, my name is Lindsay. I'm going to be calling back the day before to check in with you before the briefing. Just make sure you've got your link. Make sure you're ready to go. You're also going to receive a couple of emails leading up to the briefing. That's in case you need me for anything before then, okay? So you can just reach out if you need anything before the briefing. Okay, now what other questions do you have for me until we speak again? Anything else I can support you with? Okay, awesome. Have a great day. End the call, put the notes into the CRM. All right, now also, it's really funny. As I'm reading through this, did you see how you could tell when I was reading this? So as you're listening to me, you could tell whenever I didn't look at the computer and I just talked versus whenever I'm looking at my script. You could tell a difference. I could tell a difference. That's why we don't read from the script. Okay, so let's go back a little bit here. You'll see, I don't know if you guys can see my mouse. Chris, can you see my mouse?
Yes.
Yes, perfect. So you'll see right here, whenever I scheduled in this call, I did this one day after the briefing. So this would be one day after the webinar, one day after the briefing, or maybe it's the afternoon of that. The reason why I do that is so that the stories, the case studies, the content, whatever it was that we talked about, they've had a chance to listen to it, to review it, to attend that briefing, attend that webinar. And then I'm going ahead and putting them on my sales call calendar for immediately following that. I don't want to put it out for 2 weeks from now. I don't want a first time appointment 30 days from now. I want it as quickly as possible. Okay. Which is also why we recommend having these things weekly or at least monthly at the very, very least amount monthly. Okay. Now, if I was not hosting a webinar, and let's say that I was giving them a chapter of my book, or I was sending them the checklist or the self-assessment, I would send them the thing, plug it in, send it to their email, and then I would do the same exact thing. Hey, by the way, I don't have any slots today, but do you know if you guys have had a cyber strategy session in the past 3 months? No, I don't think so. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and block you in for tomorrow at 2 p.m. This is a one-on-one call with our security team to make sure that you all are up to date on your security measures. How does that time work for you? Tomorrow, 2 p.m. Okay, awesome. So I'm going to get the call on the calendar for tomorrow. If there's not a briefing, if there's not a webinar, if there's not an event for them to attend, I'm going to get the call on the calendar for as soon as possible. Okay, so make sure that you've got your sales team calendar ready to go. It's updated. Your salespeople have their availability updated. We do not want to be blocking in a call and then having to go back and change the call time. You don't want to do that. Okay.
Here's a quick question I just got. I'm going to put this up on the screen. Would it be bad to send an invitation via email first and then follow up with a call? Then you can ask if they've received it, go on to invite them and sign them up live.
Yep. Yeah, you can totally do that. Absolutely. That is actually part of our cold outreach strategy in Marketing Machine, where you have them in an email series, a cold email outreach series, and then you're also calling to follow up on it. I think that's a very holistic strategy because now you have something to reference. Or let's say that we went ahead and we sent them an invite to our checklist and we said, dear so-and-so, we've got this quick checklist so that you can assess if you're compliant with the new FTC safeguards. Reply back yes if you want the checklist. We send them this email, no answer. I call them 2 days later. Hey, busy business owner. Listen, I sent you over a checklist. Did you receive it? Or I sent you over an invite to grab our checklist. Make sure you all are updated on the FTC safeguards. Did you receive the email? No, or I'm busy. I didn't have time to check it. No, whatever. Okay, cool. Let me go ahead and shoot that over to you. Is this the right email to even send it to? So again, I confirmed that they've received the communication. I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to circle back to this spot. Cool. I'm going to go ahead and send that to you. Go ahead, check your email for me. Yep, it should be from Lindsay at ABC Tech. Okay, do you see that there? Awesome. Scroll down. You'll see the link right there to download that. Okay. All right, now really quick, I don't have any slots today, but do you know, so it's the same exact thing. I'm repeating myself over and over and over.
So great. I love it. Great, phenomenal answer. Here's a couple of tips from me. Make sure you're cautious and conscious of your regional rules around cold email, cold calling, all those different things, right? You just got to be conscious of that. And one of the things that I like to do is I like to, we test various things and see what works better. None of this is set it and forget it. So just be mindful of that and try different things out and see. I'll say this, we get almost zero complaints of people that we call. Businesses really can't be on the do not call list. So that's not really a factor. So it's really, we almost get, and here's kind of the big factor. If you're calling them immediately pitching crap, you're going to get complaints. But if you're calling them with real value and stuff they actually need and care about, they're going to be like, oh, yeah. So be very conscious of that. It's not just a pitch fest. It's give them value and you will see success.
Yeah, which is also why it's really hard. Like if we're outsourcing this to folks that are not local, this is why I'd really recommend, if we can, to hire folks that are familiar with your area. And if they're not familiar with your area, then you're meeting with them daily. You're teaching them about your industry. You're bringing them into the community that you're part of. You're letting them know, hey, we've got to test this. We got to figure out what works for this area. We've got to know the difference. So for example, we have a client who is located in Dallas. And he's like, I want someone local because you got to know like these differences between Dallas and Fort Worth. And he was very adamant that we hired an SDR that was local to the area, that would know these things, that would know these norms in their area. So I agree with that. You don't want to just outsource this to someone overseas that has no idea. They have no context. There's no experience in the industry, which is fine. It doesn't need to be experienced in the industry, but also no knowledge about what's going on in the area that you're targeting either. Okay. So you'll see here, after you end your call, you want to make sure that you put your notes in the CRM. So we've already talked about this, but cool. I end the call, I put the notes into my CRM, and then I do a little happy dance. Yay. And then I pick up the call again, pick up the phone again, and we do it all over. And again, same notes, answered, no answered, left a message, did not leave a message, accepted invitation, accepted FTA, any follow-up notes or tasks that I need to create. So if you're using Wisetrack CRM, so cool that you can actually assign tasks inside of Wisetrack. So instead of you going down a rabbit hole of sending them the book right then and you got to go do something in the back end, I'm going to set a task for myself that says to send them the book by the end of the day. Boom, it's going to go set up a task. And then when I close out my day, I will go back to my task list and go do those things so that I can stay in the right headspace of making outbound calls.
And you, you guys, really quick, everybody's probably wondering if you're a prospect or been not with us before, what WiseTrack is. WiseTrackCRM.com is our 7-figure MSP built CRM product, and it is included with our elite members and our 0 to 10K members as a free add-on that we just give both of our member sets. So you should be using it. And here's a good concept. If you have a PSA, professional services automation tool like ConnectWise or Datto or Kaseya or whatever it is that you have, you should be using that to manage clients. A CRM should be used to manage all your leads and your prospects. That's what a CRM is for, customer relationship management tool. That's what it's for. And WiseTrack runs all of this. You can do all the calling out of it, all the email, like literally everything out of one platform.
Love it. Awesome. Okay. So last piece here, we want to know our numbers and stay a student. So what does that mean? At the end of the day, we want to report on our end of day numbers. So you actually just heard Chris talk about the numbers that come through internally. You just heard me share numbers that come through in our mastermind program. So I want to make sure at the end of the day, I'm reporting my numbers to someone. Okay. If you are MSP and it's just you, yourself, and you, report your numbers somewhere, send it in a Teams message to yourself. Okay. Put your numbers somewhere, because we want people, like humans, we love production. We thrive in production. So even if you go your whole day and you did not book a single appointment, if you're reporting what your production was for that day, you're reporting what your input was for that day, you're going to feel like that's a win. That's why we work too much and we do things around the house and we come up with projects and side hobbies and all these things because we like to produce. Okay. So make sure that you're reporting your numbers somewhere so that you can see that production end of day. Remember,
really quick, Lindsay, let me just show this really quick. I'm putting this on chat. I'm going to show this on the screen. This is a good example of the KPIs that we get from our guys. This is from Friday. That's what he reported. We have a 7-figure MSP lead machine Teams chat. That's what his end of day looks like. Just so you guys know, that was what I reported earlier. So he's like, that's Mike. That was, I couldn't put it in separate lines, but Mike, 315, that was Friday. Calls 152, conversations 5, call offers 2, discoveries booked 2, strategy sessions booked 0. So a strategy session would be effectively a CSRA discussion. Discovery would be a FTA, first time appointment.
Love it.
Just wanted to show that.
Yep, love it. So we want to remember that every single call is a test. So even as I'm going through this talk track with you, test it. Try out which intro scripts work best. Try out which lead magnets or which neutral landing places work best for you. That's why we report our numbers. That's why we take notes. That's why we document our process, because none of this is permanent. None of these strategies are permanent. The market changes every single day. People change, the world changes. And if you're not changing, your business is dying. Okay. So we have to know that every single call I make is a test, period. Look at it as I am a student. I'm learning. I'm curious. I'm curious if this will work. I'm curious if this pitch will work. I'm curious what they're going to say back to this intro. Okay. Every single call is a test. Once I find something that works, I'll run with that thing. But if it's not working, and I promise you're going to be able to tell if it's not working, then we're going to kill it and we're going to pivot. We're going to kill it and we're going to do something else. And we're going to kill it fast. We are not going to keep doing this for 1,000 calls. And then you come back and you say, well, it doesn't work, Lindsay. Your script sucks. Well, you should have made a change 50 calls in. Okay. So be able to make really fast changes.
It takes a lot of process. It takes a lot of systems. And I'm going to tell you guys this. I don't care how great some agencies are going to say they are. There's no agency owner that can sit here and really agree with or disagree with this. You're going to do it better yourself. It's going to take time, and it's going to take a system, and it's going to take a process. It's taken me a while to build this out internally at 7-figure MSP, but you know what? I can scale infinitely now. Mm-hmm. I have the system. I have the process. Lindsay, you watch it all the time with us internally. Lindsay's not involved in that, but she sees the results. She sees the stuff we're doing. It's a machine now versus dumping. The only way you're realistically going to get agencies to work is, I'm going to say $15,000 a month or more for your own dedicated dialer, and you have to still run the strategy. Just imagine the team you could run internally for $15,000 a month or more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I have like 2 or 3 more quick things here. A couple of books that I recommend for you, for your team, for any of your salespeople. How to Win Friends and Influence People. This book is timeless.
Phenomenal book.
Yeah, love it. The Soulful Art of Persuasion. This one's a lesser known book. I actually checked this book out from the library like 4 years ago, and it was one of the, I think, it was contrary to some sales books out there, to some sales advice, and really helped bring a different perspective to selling. And then Sell or Be Sold by Grant Cardone. Think what you want about the Cardones, but the man knows how to sell stuff. So recommend that book as well. All right, so 4 closing thoughts here. Number 1, share your wins. Why? Because winning breeds more winning. So share your wins with your community, with your mentors, with your coworkers, with your family, friends, whoever. Share your wins. Talk about your wins. Report your end of day numbers. Find the places where you've won and where you see progress and where you've made production. Okay, share that because it's going to create more of it. Number 2, every single day is practice. So and it takes 10,000 reps to truly begin to become a master at something. So if you've not put in 10,000 calls, if you've not been told no 10,000 times, if you've not had to put notes into your CRM 10,000 times, no complaining allowed. Okay. Number 3, normalize the bounce back. So no one in the entire world is born a master, period. They've all had to learn and put in the reps and learn from others. And you just got to bounce back and keep on going. Okay. And document your process. You cannot scale what you cannot repeat. And this is where 98% of business owners will plateau, or they'll be set back because they find success within themselves and then they have no idea how to repeat it. They've grown through word of mouth, referrals, accident, whatever, and then they have no idea how to repeat that. And you can't scale that. So that's why we've got to document, record, and report. Okay, so volume, so meaning numbers, testing, and reporting are the name of the game. Happy lead generating. Awesome. I hope that was helpful. We're going to have time for Q&A here in a few minutes, so pop your questions in the chat.
Okay. So we do have Q&A time here now. So that's perfect that Lindsay said that. So I'm going to bring up a couple of questions, Lindsay, let's hammer these out. I was trying to address some of these on the fly here. Got a really nice comment here from Inganathi. Great job. Awesome cold calling webinar. We'll definitely watch the recording again. This recording will be sent out to everybody on the webinar side. So you guys will get this in an email and there'll be a landing page that's on that. Anybody that's watching on socials, as soon as it's over, you can go back and restart right exactly where you're watching it right now. So whatever group or platform you're in, you can go back. It's all being recorded. The beauty of the live stream is you're watching it live and you can go back and like literally rewind and do all the same stuff you're doing right there as we go. So that answers that one. Where will the recording be? Jeff Sherman said, well, this is really nice, Jeff. Thank you. Jeff was with us, Lindsay, in California, in LA when we were there. So good to see you, brother. Jeff also won. He was one of our 3 winners for the 0 to 10K giveaway last Friday. So that was cool. So congrats, Jeff. Hope you like what you're seeing so far. Okay, here's a question from Chris Wilson. What would you put on the caller ID for the call out? I usually put like my name, Chris Weiser, because people know who I am. That's what I do. But
yeah, I love that. Put your name on there. Put your Chris. I put Chris Wilson on there.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think it's key. It's possible. I do know, like with AT&T now, it does name and number on the cell phone. So that's there. But I would put your personal full name, either of you or your caller. Like our callers has my name on it, just so you know that. So that's, you're going to get more stuff. Okay, so I got a question from Thomas here. My MSSP services in Central Europe. I border 4 countries within a few miles. I'm dealing with it. Is there a good way to pitch all the same? So I'm gonna defer to Lindsay. Then I'm gonna come back on that because I have some ideas.
When dealing with a specific industry with different laws and regulations, as well as language changing. Okay, so let's do one at a time, Thomas. I would choose one list that you're going to target at a time. So let's say that you've got all these 4 countries and they're all in a few miles. Let's pick that one country that we're going to focus on first. And we're going to work that country and we're going to work that list and we're going to work that industry first so that we don't have to be switching every 10 minutes on what laws we have to abide by. Now I am curious though, if I would like to know, Thomas, like what laws are you referring to? in terms of like calling laws or in terms of recording laws. So I think that's also important for us to specify. But I would
do think the language is changing is a big factor. So you got, I mean, anytime the languages change, I think you have to do specific stuff.
Yeah.
So just be mindful of that.
Yeah. So I would focus on one at a time just so you and your team can keep up with that and then just go from there. And I would definitely not try to tiptoe around any laws or regulations because people are crazy and they're always looking for a reason to sue or to like turn back on you or something. So abide by your laws, like do what we need to do, but just make it easy on yourself. Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah. Okay. Here's another question from Petlo. I just had this question: since these lists are built using public information, how would one deal with the situation where the person's reached out by multiple MSP cold calls? How can one distinguish itself from all other calls? I got a couple things and then we'll hear from Lindsay. So first of all, very few MSPs are actually making dials out. I'm going to tell you that right now. So in my business world as a multi-business owner, I worry about the things that I can control. Mm-hmm. And then I differentiate myself from the pack. So a good example of this. Do I have competitors that might be watching this webinar? Yeah. Who freaking cares? Keep watching. Mm-hmm. Great. I don't care. Like that's the mindset you got to have. Like I can control my content and my audience to a point. That's it. Don't care about the rest of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm actually going to kind of second that, Pat. So most folks that are doing cold calls, number one, they're not doing them like this. Okay, they ain't doing it this way. They are doing what we talked about earlier. Hey, this is Lindsay from ABC Tech. We help you, da 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 da. We offer cybersecurity, and we have the best stack in the world. And they're doing it like that, right? Whenever you call in and you shake things up, and you have something of value to offer, and you do it this way, that's a differentiator in itself. Okay,
insane.
Yeah, so keep your eye on your prize. Keep tunnel vision on what you're doing.
Yep. Okay. Anybody else have any other questions? Because I think I was covering most of those as the webinar went on. I just was doing that because sometimes on StreamYard here, there's so many comments they get lost. So I was just trying to cover as many as I could. I think we're good. If you guys got any other questions, we still got a lot of people on with us waiting for our prizes. Clarify. I think we're good on a couple of these other things. Oh, there's one new comment here. Here we go. My business is part of a franchise, so I'm limited to specific zip codes that I'm allowed to market into. I think it may be difficult to build a list of 1,000 contacts that are industry specific. Do your best, I'd say, first of all. Second of all, focus on various verticals. And some of these things, like, for example, the cybersecurity briefing, you can offer to a lot of different people. We just like to do the individual lists because it allows you to really focus your messaging. For example, I have a cybersecurity briefing on Monday for dentists who would like to come. Your open rate is going to be way higher to dentists if you put for dentists in there. So even though the cybersecurity briefing may not only be dental focused, the messaging outbound will give you a better open rate, will give you a better call answer rate, give you all these different things. That's my thoughts on it. Lindsay?
Yep, I agree with that. Also, just think about the psychology behind this of, well, I couldn't go to this is actually true for me today. I couldn't go to the gym this morning for my usual hour and a half. So guess what I did? I found 50 minutes throughout the day to go. So if I can't make a list of 1,000, make a list of whatever you can and do something. Do something over nothing. So yes, all of that.
Yep. And Jeff made a good joke here. I see you, buddy. I see you. I know he's laughing right now because Jeff's a pretty funny guy. Trying to get dentists concerned about cybersecurity. He's like pulling teeth. It is, but here's the deal. They're in the verge of getting clamped down on, big time. And their industry is starting to slap them across the face. So you need to be ahead of this, and you need to be the message that's the one that's talking about it.
But what time is the best to call dentists?
I believe it's 2:30.
Not 2:30, you say?
Oh my God. Lindsay and I are the worst. It's terrible.
We're dad joking.
Okay, here's from Gary. I just got a message that says I don't get it. Okay, never mind. I have 12 years as an MSP owner and years of sales and marketing experience prior to that. We're starting my cold calling, and this is a perfect refresher webinar. Awesome, Gary. Thank
Yay!
you.
That's awesome, Gary.
Yeah, best time is now. Okay, if you guys got other questions, I'll hit it as we come back through. Just going to kind of finish my content here for today, and we'll get rolling on this. Going to talk a little bit about our 7-figure MSP Inner Circle program. Some examples that we have. And in fact, Jeff, you were there with us in LA, so you got a chance to actually see Brian Wooster talk about this. Great example of some of the people that come into our program. Jeff's a pretty small MSP in Bakersfield, California. Great example, came into our program last August, first closed his deal 21 days later. He did 5 presentations in 4 weeks, 4 contracts signed, and a total of $7,800 of new MRR. Now, all the stuff that Lindsay was talking about today with her cold call clinic and the marketing machine and all those different things, we cover and include as part of our elite coaching program. Now, our elite coaching program mandates that you are 10K of monthly revenue. It doesn't have to be MRR, but 10K of consistent monthly revenue or more to be in the program. We also have a program called 0 to 10K that some of our members that are watching the webinar, like Jeff Sherman, for example, is in that program. Don Mangiarelli from Honolulu is in that program. You guys are more than welcome to come into that, but you have to qualify to get into elite, and you want to be an elite because it's our coaching. Our massive coaching program is a complete sales and marketing system to get your MSP to 7-figure years. If you're already there, or 7-figure months, 7-figure quarters, 7-figure deals, that's what our mindset is. There's no limit on how big of I think our largest MSP in elite is 50 million plus a year. And we're actively, the bigger you are, the better you do in elite is really the rule. Here's what our program all entails. And I'm going to have you book a strategy call coming out of this, just so you guys know this. You get our full coming out of the box. In fact, we do onboarding every Monday. We had onboarding this morning at 10 a.m. Central Time. Every single week, we repeat the same process. Our double your MRR sales system. That is our complete sales onboarding process live. You get me and Ryan O'Hara on Monday. Then you get Cindy Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Cindy is a sales machine. If you've not been on a webinar with her, we do those periodically as well. Our last sales one was with me and Cindy. So you get that plus our 3 times a week, we have weekly sales open office hours. You also get the 7-figure MSP marketing machine with the lovely and talented Lindsay Badillo as well. She runs that with her complete marketing onboarding process live, and then also 3 marketing machine open office hours per week. Now, we want you to go through sales coaching first because we're going to teach you how to sell a different way. Times have changed. We got to do things differently. Then after you graduate from that, you get into marketing machine with Lindsay. It takes time. It takes execution, a lot of effort to do marketing right. So that's what she teaches. She also has a marketing mastermind called Leads Mastery. That's all geared towards teaching you how to hire an SDR and building a sales team. That's all about literally everything you just taught, but managed underneath Lindsay. So that's great as well. We also have all these proposals, presentation, and agreement templates as part of the program. So you get our full cybersecurity sales presentation, our full sales proposal template comes with it. That is a PowerPoint is the top one and a Word doc is the second one. You get our full risk acceptance letter that comes along with that as well. You also get our full MSA and statement of work templates, our cybersecurity incident response plan template included, discount access to the MSP contract kit, and our legal advice call with our internal counsel, Paige Taylor Bennett. We just had that call today. In fact, I think some of you guys that were here on that, Chris Wilson, Don Mangiarelli, and Jeff Sherman, you guys were all on that legal advice call with Paige in the last, it was literally right before this webinar. Great example of that. You also get this process, structure, and tools. So our full risk assessment system, including the Talivi product that gets you 100 seats for 90 days and then 50% off the product. You also get our full hiring machine, our CRM, that WiseTrack that I talked about earlier comes with that included. All of our marketing campaigns and our email nurture software included inside of WiseTrack. That's all there and included in the program. So Chris, what's the next step? You guys saw all the stuff that we have included in our elite program. Here's all the different stuff that's included in there. $15,000 in growing value. For the record, also, we have vendor discounts that comes into that. We averaged that out last week, Lindsay. Ryan calculated the average savings that one of our elite members gets is $1,100 a month. Like we just calculated that out and found that out on Monday. So that was on Friday. So my special offer for you guys today, 12 months of our elite coaching program is normally $2,000 a month, but I got a little better deal for you. If you book your call on this webcast right now, I'll give you $250 per month off. So $1,750 per month. You also, if you're not big enough, you want to book a call to get your $50 gift card, because if you're not 10K a month of revenue, you can take a look at 0 to 10K as well. That is $147 a month. So that is a very reasonable product, not expensive, but book your call either way. Maybe Elite's a fit for you. Maybe 0 to 10K is a fit for you. Either one. Again, here's all that included Elite stuff that we have stacked up here. Before I give you your link, Chris, I don't know if this program is going to work for me. Maybe this is a piece of crap. I'm too nervous to commit. I think this is a scam. Is there a guarantee? I got a couple of guarantees for you guys. First of all, guarantee number one, just to prove that I believe in this program so much, here's what we have. You got to participate in the work. Now, caveat to this, you're not buying my program, coming in, downloading all the stuff and leaving. It's not happening. We got a very solid agreement. You're not going to do that. It's not going to work. Nobody's ever been able to do it. They've tried, trust me. But you have to do the work in the first 90 days. And if you come out of that 90 days and you say, I'll see no ROI, it's not worth it. Chris is crazy. Lindsay's worse. Cindy's terrible. I see you rolling your eyes over there. Or it won't work in my market. I'll give you your money back. No questions asked, in full. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, everybody succeeds in the program. No. But you know what? Nobody's ever requested that back because they know that they didn't do the work. We definitely have people that have come in and not succeeded. 100% agree. You got to do the work, though. It's not some magic fairy dust that we sprinkle on your business. You have to do the work. It does work if you do the work. And because of that, I actually added a second guarantee, because nobody has asked for their money back in 6 years. I added a second guarantee. If you participate in all the work, do your first 3 client reviews in the first 90 days, and don't make at least your investment in additional MRR, I'll write you a check for the amount that you sign on. So for example, if you sign for $1,750, and if you don't make $1,750 back MRR, I'll write you a check for $1,750. Still, also never been requested. Simply because if you do the work, it works. It's that simple. You can book your call on this link, 7figuremsp.com/strategy call. I'm going to throw this in the chat for you guys. Let me just get that out there. HTTPS 7figuremsp.link/. Oh, you're killing me, Lindsay. You already did it.
I was on mute. I'm like, I got it. I realized I was on mute though.
Well, it's okay. All right. I like you guys commenting. So you can book your call right there. Lindsay threw that in the chat for anybody out on the social channels. You can do that if you're watching on the recording. Pause, go to the URL, book your call. You do need to mention this webinar, and we will send you a $50 gift card on top of that as well. And here's what we're going to do next. We have our prizes. It's prizes times. Okay. We got a lot of people still watching with us. Here's how we do our prizes, guys. What is one actionable item that you can take from today's? Honestly, Lindsay, you killed it today, by the way. That's all brand new content. It's amazing stuff. We had so many members watching today as well. What's one actionable item that you can take and actually implement right now in your business?
Let us know in the chat. What's one actionable item that you can go and implement?
One of the people that enters here, and Lindsay is going to pick our 2 winners.
Okay. One thing that you took away, one thing you can do. Okay, Don says create the list.
Oh, you're killing me. We're both doing it. We're clicking the same stuff at the same time here.
Don't click.
Oh, these are timely. Got webinar idea. Let's see. We got Nancy White. I'll not be selling on my services. Oh, I love the yes train. That's a good one.
Oh,
Lindsay.
yes. So
Nancy,
good.
Gary said create a list. Here's another tip I'll tell you, Gary. The best lists are built, not bought. We didn't talk about list building today, but here's something I'm going to tell you guys while you're entering stuff in the chat. Do not buy a list unless you're absolutely certain it's good. And I'll give you an example. I could buy a list of MSPs. We all get these emails that come into our email box every single day. Are you interested in buying a list of ConnectWise users? That list is going to suck. I promise you that list is going to suck. But if I go to ConnectWise IT Nation and I put a booth there, and then ConnectWise is like, hey, do you want to buy the attendee list? They don't do that. But if they did that, I'd be like, yeah, I'll buy that list because I know who's going. And I had a booth there and it's viable. Okay, I'll give you a chance. Or if you go to for example, we used to, when I had my MSP, I was in Wisconsin, I was in Milwaukee, and we used to go to the Wisconsin State Bar Association. We'd go to their show, we'd have a booth. If they were like, Hey, do you want to buy a list of all the attendees at the actual show from the people that put the show on? Hell yeah, I'm buying that list, right? So be mindful of that. Be very conscious of it. Okay, here's from Carol. I should sell and lead with cybersecurity. I love that. I'm glad you listened to me as much content as I didn't have today. Here's from Jeff. Jeff, you get WiseTrack inside of 0 to 10K for free. Book your onboarding call with David and get rolling, Jeff. I don't want your crappy excuses. I'm winking at you. I should always call from CRM or record my calls, etc. I love that. Mark Cristobal, man, you guys are good. Break her non-script down.
That's right.
Anything you got in here, Lindsay, that you want to put on screen?
Create a dialogue, not a monologue. Absolutely. Let's see, where are we? Practice the positive mindset. Stop it. Always keep my tonality in mind. Seals the deal. Yep, my customers will feel it too. Create my focused list. Love it. I like the call track as a better way to have fluid. Yes. Oh, I wish I could like spotlight that this entire presentation. It is fluid. It's fluidity. It's having intelligent, emotionally intelligent conversations. You all are smart. All of you are here for a reason. You are smart people. You know how to talk to people. Now, whether or not you like to or not, that's another choice, but you're going to like it during your power hour, right? We're going to smile. We're going to be excited about it. And it's not following a script because you can't script human connection. Okay. So it's all about fluid conversations. Pet says changing the tonality. Yeah. And it was probably very obvious whenever I made that change in my tone. And you guys saw that happen right there on the call. And I slumped down. I'm like, I'm calling you. Like, it was such a difference. Luke says, in case of a call, I should put notes in my CRM. Absolutely. Smile and dial. Call now. Talk to them as people. Go make some calls and execute. Love it. Execution. Batch time in my calendar. Train my mind. Did you guys screenshot your new morning and afternoon?
This is such good responses, guys. I'm a huge fan of this.
Yeah, these are awesome. Okay, so yeah, I think we're good. Do you want me to go ahead and choose our two?
Okay. Yes, start choosing. I'm gonna start. Get ready. Let's do your $75 gift card winner. Here's what you guys do if you have to win. I need you to put in the chat your business, your MSP email address. If you are a winner, I want your full name and your MSP email address, or you're not getting anything. We've had some scammers on these Gmails, Yahoos. Not getting anything. I want to see your MSP email address. We're going to contact you and we're going to send you your stuff. But it's not just going to be a blind cold thing. So if you're a scammer, too bad. Killed you. Okay. Lindsay, drum roll on $75 gift card winner.
All right, here we go. Frank Jones.
Frank Jones, congratulations. You have won a $75 gift card courtesy of Lindsay Badillo, coming directly out of her commission check.
Oh, wonderful. Awesome.
Huge fan. Frank Jones. Here's Frank's comment. I'll batch time on my calendar with morning and afternoon power hours. I'm a huge fan. Frank, put in the chat here on the webinar your business name and your business email address, and we will grab that. Second winner. We have a $100 gift card winner. There we go. Thank you, Frank. Killed it, brother. Good job. I'm not going to put that on the screen because we don't want everybody to see that, but I got it. Second, our $100 gift card winner. That's a drum roll.
Roy Bartlett.
Roy Bartlett, congratulations, my friend. I don't know Roy or Frank, but hopefully I get to meet you guys soon. Roy had create my focus list. Is that a single word? Focus list. Focus list. Frank, do me a favor, Roy, do me a favor, put your business email address in the chat on the webinar, and you have won a $100 gift card. If you're outside the United States, I will send you PayPal. Okay. Congrats, Frank. Congrats, Roy. We need to make sure Roy's here and responding before we leave.
Where are you at, Roy?
Come on, Roy.
You can do it.
Need your business email address, Roy, before we go.
All right, awesome.
Lindsay, did he put it in there? I didn't see it.
No, I don't see it. I'm going to have to go on to the next person if I don't see it come through.
Roy, you got about 15 seconds. There we go. Roy is in Canada. I personally call Canada Canada.
Stop
and
it.
all our Canadian guys.
In Toronto?
Oh my God. Lindsay got booed when we were
I got
in
booed
Toronto.
off stage.
Literally got yelled at when we were in Toronto. Roy, we will be in Ottawa and Vancouver this year. Lindsay and I will be there live, just so you guys know. Lindsay's never been to Vancouver because she bailed on the last one.
There was a hurricane in Florida.
I don't want your crap excuses. I'm tired of it, honestly.
All right. Okay.
Okay. Congrats, Roy. Congrats, Frank. Lindsay, phenomenal job today. Any parting words?
Yeah, no, I loved what someone said over here. Just execute. Just pick up the phone. Don't worry about having everything perfect. Like, just take what you've learned today. I challenge you to go make 20 calls today. Just do it right now. It's 6 o'clock. I don't care. Pick up the phone anyways. Do it first thing in the morning. Make some calls, execute, get out there. You can't get the sale that you don't ask for. So put yourself out there, and there is truly no such thing as failure. Okay, because you're always moving forward, you're in production, and you're learning as you go. So thanks, thank you everyone for listening and for being engaged and for hanging out with us. It was fun.
Lindsay, phenomenal job. This was brand new content for us today. One of the things that we put in here for 2024, we used to do like the same 2 webinars every quarter, or basically every month. It'd be with Cindy on the week 1, Lindsay on week 3. We're now doing a cadence of 6 different webinars across those different weeks. You guys are going to get so much new content, so much new stuff from me, Cindy, Lindsay, Ryan, Michelle, our whole team. We're gonna bring you in and teach you guys a lot of stuff. And if you need help implementing, book your strategy call. We have a solution for you. And here's the thing I'm going to tell you. It's either 0 to 10K or elite. We're going to have a fit for you. You cannot do this on your own. Actually, I'm going to rephrase that. You can do it on your own, but how long is it going to take you is the question. So we are a massive accelerant. We are seeing guys like Brian Wooster in 6 months add more revenue than he had. Tripling his MRR, quadrupling his MRR. This is stuff that actively happens and actively
every day.
Guys. Every single day we have wins on our programs. And if you need help, join the communities. We're here. We'd love to help you. So my name's Chris Weiser. Hope you guys had a great time today. Hopefully you learned a lot. Lindsay is amazing. She's our head marketing coach. Cindy's just as good. We'd love to have you guys join us. So we'll see you soon. My name's Chris Weiser. We'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.